Today's episode of the Federation's Finest podcast is brought to you by The House, the feature film, now streaming on Tubi. After a freak accident and a night out drinking leaves two of their friends dead, the lives of 6 teens are changed forever with the discovery of a mysterious revive serum that can bring one of their dead back to life, but only one. Now torn into multiple groups and fighting amongst each other, these teens must decide who they are, what they believe in, and what truly is the value of a life. Stream The House, directed by Miles Ross, now on Tubi for free, or head to thehousefeature.com or at thehousefeature on Instagram to learn more. That is thehousefeature.com or at thehousefeature on Instagram to learn more. Boys, gentlemen, everyone, I am exceedingly happy to have you here for the inaugural episode of the Federation's Finest. I feel so alone, gonna end up a big ol' pile of them bones. I'm your host, Miles. I'm a filmmaker from Seattle, but I'm also a big mech fan. I grew up on Gurren Lagann, and I'm currently watching through Gal Geiger with my brother and Pad Labor on my own time, but I'm a die-hard Gundam fan at heart. With this show, I'm here to lead these 3 today, newbies through the series and see if we can figure out what this giant robot thing is all about. We'll be covering this series not chronologically, but in my own special order, emulating but not quite the experience of discovering the show on Toonami or pirated anime websites in the early 2000s when you didn't really have access to everything and kind of had to piece things together. You know, the fun times, the good old days. On today's episode, we will be covering Gundam, the 8th MS Team, episodes 1 through 4. If you want to watch along with us, you should go watch those. Boys, I'm so happy to have you here. Once again, I'm Miles. We also got...
I'm Tom, filmmaker from Alaska, met Miles in film school, and we have been butting heads for creative juices ever since.
Hell yeah.
I am here to be irritated by all of the science inconsistencies that Miles assures me have a canon explanation. So, your Xeon fighter crafts are stupid. We'll get to that.
Yeah. And also...
All right, my name is Leo. I'm your local space cowboy. I am new to Gundam and all this, but I am a very well-versed 40K fan, and I am here to compare the two, because this is a much cheaper hobby to get into.
Oh yeah, that's actually a good starting point. And next up, last but not least.
My name is Kenneth, or Kenny, most people go by. I've only watched one Gundam series fully through, which is Gundam 00, and its movies. I do have some knowledge about Gundam and mechs in general, like Gurren Lagann or Evangelion, but other than that, I've known Miles since like elementary school.
Oh yeah, and we also got Tyler. Unfortunately, he's down with a little bit of the Minovsky particle contamination syndrome right now, but he will be back soon. Boys, to jump right in. I'm gonna hand things over to Tom. I think the way we'll do this is we'll just let y'all go episode by episode, just recapping stuff, and then you guys talk as long as you want about it, and then afterwards I'll give my explanations or not. Tom took pretty good notes on things, so we'll let him lead from here.
Pretty good notes is a bold statement when you haven't read my notes.
I mean, you took notes, so that's more than me.
I mean, well, fuck it, let's just start off. How do you think about it?
Like I said, Miles and I are going to be butting heads on this, so I needed my thoughts in a row.
Go right ahead.
We open with Ensign
Episode
Pikachu.
1.
Ensign Pikachu, who is he's so idealistic. I love it. He's so idealistic and naive, and, you know, he's going to kill them all in the name of peace, and I love it. Yeah. And his best friend, Courage the Cowardly Dog.
Oh my god.
who is just sitting there taking notes for exposition's sake, writing to his beau back on. I'm gonna go with Ganymede for right now.
A different high school.
Yes, she goes to a high school in Canada.
Yeah.
He's also getting bullied, which is great because he's smaller and weaker than the other men, who apparently are not children, though Ensign Pikachu and Courage the Cowardly Dog are definitely children.
Loving these nicknames.
And they're aboard the ship, right?
Yeah.
Yes,
Yep,
this
yep.
ship at Miles has exterior portholes. Miles. It's a spaceship with
Why are you-
windows.
Yeah.
Are you judging their portholes?
Yeah.
Hard.
You don't see them coming into your home and judging your portholes.
That the exterior portholes on the spaceship were the start of my I need to take notes on this.
They're soldiers of the Earth Federation, and Shiro specifically. He says he is. Did you catch where he said he was from?
I didn't catch where he said he was from. He's from a colony, though.
He is from.
Yeah.
He is from
air-conditioned space colony.
He is from a place called Side 2. Side
Okay,
2.
that was a place.
Do you guys so you think it's a colony?
No, the
Probably.
way he mentioned it, I thought it was like some kind of media, like a viewing method or something.
Yeah, I'll let you know.
Kinda-
It's a place.
I kind of assumed he just went to like an academy, like okay, here comes the 40K, like a Scola, but like basically just a school for these individuals. Let's call them.
Gotcha. What about you, Kenny?
I would assume they're coming from colonies, just from what I recall from like the other Gundams I've seen or from just hearing. But yeah,
Gotcha. So you think the Side 2 place is a colony?
probably.
See, I have zero background knowledge for Gundam,
Oh, it's
so
fine.
I'm
Yeah,
going off of
This is a whole
only
new
what's
universe.
available.
Yeah, this is
Yep,
the
I'm
most-
going off vibes alone.
Good way.
Yeah.
And they're parts of something called the EFF, the Earth Federation Forces, and they're fighting against a group called what?
I mean,
Zeons.
Zeon.
Zeon. Yeah, and they call
Or
them
Zeeks.
Yeah, they call them Zeeks. Is
Yep.
slang. Yeah.
Even though their models are actually what, Zaku?
Yeah. Zaku are the mechs that you saw earlier.
Yup.
And as we approach this mech called the GM fighting the Zaku, right? They before that, the other soldiers that are on the ship, they say something very interesting. We see a broadcast that's very interesting, or maybe this is at the end of the episode. What do the Zeon soldiers say?
Oh, Sieg.
That's all the way at the end of the episode, man.
Yeah, it is at the end of the episode.
Okay,
Yeah.
we'll get there. Yeah.
You wanted to let me summarize this, man? Let me
yes,
summarize
summarize
it.
it.
Because
Nah,
next,
he's going play by play.
next is the ballsy move in a ball, man.
Yeah.
Which I assume
Yes.
is some kind of rescue or salvage mech, which that one makes sense. I'm all for that design, except then
ball.
Ensign Pikachu, who is in a ship that's flying through vacuum, raises his visor to see the screens better. These are the things that bug me, Miles. Shooting grapples at the Zaku was cool. He
That was
hits the
dope.
grapple, spins around it, and then tiny
Fires
guns
a
right in
little
your face.
pew-pew
That
right in
was
you.
cool.
Yeah.
And then because we did meet our Earthside characters briefly before all this, but I'm very curious at the "a woman" comment
Yeah,
because like we've seen Karen,
Yeah.
like we know, like
Karen is very much
we
a thing.
know there are military like women in the armed forces.
So the redhead girl in the first episode is not Karen, who's piloting the ship. That's a different redhead lady.
Karen is in the first opening scene of the show.
Yes, she's very much in the intro.
Yes, she throws a wrench at Elidor.
Yes.
And that's why I was like, cool. Both of those characters, I'll learn your names. I like you. Ensign Pikachu, still working on it, buddy. But curious if like Zeon doesn't have women in their army because they're dicks. I don't know, but We'll find out.
Well, she's obviously very special, as we find out later in the episode, or in the in this as we go along.
Episode 3, I think.
It was one of them, but oh boy,
we get to see a bit more of her in episode 2. But
there it is.
This is something I do need your canon explanations on, though, because we need to talk about firearms in space.
Yes.
First of all, recoil. As soon as you fire that, that's an vectored thruster.
Yeah.
You're spinning. 2, where's that heat going, man? 3, vacuum welding is a thing, so your slide can jam. 4, which I don't know if you have a canon explanation for this, the gun's black. So as soon as it gets hit by sun, it's heating up.
Oh, yeah.
Fast. So, please canon your way out of guns in space.
Oh, yeah. We'll save the explanations for the end of the episode, but keep the summaries.
No.
No. Save all questions and concerns to the end of the TED Talk.
Yeah, I'm just trying not to talk. I know I can talk for hours, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
keep summarizing. Keep summarizing.
A woman.
A woman, and then he goes to a crash spaceship that is out of power. Then he vents the atmosphere from inside of a sealed compartment. That was hilarious.
He does in fact do that. Yeah.
And then somehow she's inside.
Yeah, they're both
just
lost inside the ship.
Editing logic, he opened a compartment and vented the atmosphere, and she's already inside. The way that it's edited, I was having trouble with that. She shoots at him. He shoots back. Firearms in space. He manages to wing her. She's out of bullets, and he's like, I'm not going to shoot you. And then they go into another compartment where they vent atmosphere. But then when they close the door, don't worry, there's air inside and the power's on because there's lights. So we can take our helmets off.
And treat her wound.
Yes, she says, hi, I'm a future love interest.
Yeah, right.
Hero guy does hero guy things and patches her up. I was really enjoying the shots of him like slowly realizing she was hot. That was fun.
Yeah.
Right. Like you definitely see like okay.
Of like
It's like we know what's going on here.
Yeah. It's like how old is he? Like 18, 16?
So I was gonna go ages later. How old do you think Shiro is? Any guesses?
I was going with 18 for military.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with 18.
But judging by what I think the scope and length of this conflict is, we can bump it down as far as 16.
You are actually lowballing it. He is 23.
Okay.
Yeah.
This man does not talk to a lot of women.
Yeah, it's just the Ash Ketchum dubbing, I think, that's making him younger.
Oh, yeah, I wonder. I don't know the dubbing team. I wish I prepared research for that today. But
it's solid. It's just really
good.
90s. It
is very 90s. However, I will say the way I watched it was just like Sunday morning cartoons, and it hit. It was pretty good.
It hit? Okay.
No, the first time through, I was giving it Sunday cartoon vibes, and then after I was sending you notes, like as I was doing that.
You just got more and more angry the more you were picking it apart. Miles and I were
back and forthing, and he was just sending me memes and refusing to explain anything. I was like, all right, I got to go through it again and take notes.
Yeah.
Gotcha. And this is what sparked the, okay, I see how we got here now.
And then helmet's back on. They leave, and she gives him her watch, which definitely won't be a plot point later. Look out for that one.
Yeah, it's a nice little locket.
So I love their plan here, which is we need to get noticed so that someone knows we're alive and comes to rescue us. How about we shoot a missile at this ship over here, which is now a fast-moving cloud of shrapnel.
Yeah.
So say hello to a new puncture in your suit, which I'm just going to go ahead and assume off tech levels we have self-sealing suits and all that.
Yeah,
I would hope so, considering when she got winged, she just held her arm over, like hand over it, and was just like, "This is fine."
Yeah,
I'm not in the vacuum of space or anything, and this is not an immediate problem.
And that's a lot of my gripes with this can be solved with like, bruh, it's a TV show.
Yeah,
I'm aware of that. I'm still gonna have them.
Just narratively, we do get this really nice moment of the two of them just like space silhouetted together, and then you have the stars and then the earth, and it's
that's how we know she's a future love interest.
Yep.
what I did really enjoy from Ensign Pikachu there was I'm not here for war. I'm here for self-improvement. I want to
Yeah, right. I'm here to learn.
see how great I can be killing those Zeeks.
He wants to be the very best, like no one ever was.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think also something pretty brave just going into this episode is no Gundam in the first episode of a Gundam show. Even as an
Well, hold
OVA.
on.
Yeah.
Hold on, there's Zaku.
There's a
Okay, so
something out there in a
so-
Zaku.
so
Yeah, there's a couple Zaku that save her.
So I was gonna go over the explanation. No Gundam. There's mobile suits, but there is not a proper Gundam in the first episode.
Oh, jeez. Oh, here we go. Okay. Here we
There
go.
are Kleenex,
Yeah,
but there are no tissues.
So I was gonna save it for later, but mobile suit is just the name for mech in this universe. That's anything with 2 arms, 2 legs, kinda, and that you get inside and pilot. There's also mobile armors, which are the more tank-sized ones, or planes are also called mobile armors, but in this first episode, I'll go into the actual proper units later. We see 2 Zakus, 2 space-type Zakus.
Yes.
An experimental one that she is piloting, a black one, noticeably, or dark purple. And we get to
Wow, that's a souped-up Zaku.
and
Yeah, that's a.
we get to meet our man who they are hyping up routinely, Sanders, who is piloting a what is called a GM. Which
So is that G?
General Motors.
all right? So I was gonna save
Turtle
this.
neck.
I'll save this for later, but no, I will save it for later. He is piloting what is called a GM. That is
Okay.
the one with
And
the
that
destroyed
is
liver.
Dreads McGee, right?
Yeah, Dreads McGee. I just call him Black Dude. As a Black Dude, I like a representation from brothers in the anime.
Hey,
but
see, you get to. I don't have the melanin to do that.
it's cool. You can go.
But
That's
he-
fine.
See, here's is like he doesn't really read as a black character to me.
Oh, okay.
Not really, no.
It's the dreads that stand out as his identifying feature, but he doesn't seem.
you know, does he
Like-
kind of seem like Jet Black from Cowboy Bebop?
Nah, not really. Not really. Not as rough and
He reads
tough,
more-
honestly.
He reads more Islander to me.
Gotcha. Oh, brown man. I was gonna
Yeah.
say just the reason I brought that up. Same production company, Sunrise.
Okay.
Yeah. Sanders, they are hyping him up as a really cool dude, by the way, aren't they? Like,
Yeah.
No,
Not my eyes.
No. Not.
That's the
Yeah.
team killer, bro.
Right. Yeah. That hype immediately turns sour.
yeah.
Yeah.
But,
Oh man, it would be the lucky man. Oh, he's fucked. He's there's something off about him.
But they set up they kind of the dub kind of glazes over it. It's a little bit more clear in the Japanese version, which is why I'm happy we have people watching both versions. His entire team got just friggin' wiped by here. His entire team with this GM team that he was with is just he's the
Gone.
last survivor. Yeah, gone.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, his name is Leaper.
Yep. And if he had a nickel for every time it would happen, he'd have 2 nickels, which is weird that it's happened twice.
Yeah. But keep on going, and let's just give it a little pause break.
That's the last. I mean, after they make a fast-moving cloud of shrapnel in order to be rescued.
They do, in fact, get rescued.
Yeah, the Zaku's come first.
She
and-
leaves him with
Well, so this is a decision where I considered maybe learning Ensign Pikachu's name because it was not a decision I would have made. He decided to not be a POW and stay on the float without knowing he was about to be rescued as well.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, he does just
zero
like,
chance to make
I'm just gonna
there's
stay in
no
space.
chance I'm gonna stay on the float. Not happening.
Yeah.
Like,
He's-
but then he starts shouting in a vacuum, which now we're not learning your name. You're shouting in a vacuum.
We're not learning your name.
Yeah, you
Like-
get a lot of anime-isms, but for the most part it is staying like, okay, Gundam grounded here with like, yeah, you're gonna romantically scream out the name of the girl you like in space.
Yeah, but
something. Oh god, sorry.
the last thing I have is then because you were asking us how long and we think the scope of this war was.
Okay, well, I was gonna get to that
question.
later, but yeah.
But I have the line of we're gonna get them off our Earth, which are they from off Earth, or is that just
who
like we
says
think
that?
we own it, so we're gonna kick them off?
Who says it?
There's a broadcast at the end with the
The Xeon.
I think
Yeah, at the
Yeah,
end of the
the-
broadcast with
and one of
some
the
sort
soldiers around the
commander.
TV, I'm assuming, says it.
Yeah, there's a guy on TV with some, I don't know, some purple-haired loser behind him, and he said, and then the soldiers are all watching it, including your what were you calling them, Courage the Cowardly Dog, and they're like, who cares?
Yes.
We're gonna get them off our Earth. Yeah, and they say the Zeons, which he says here on the TV, but the Zeon soldiers throughout the series say something very fascinating, don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. what do they say?
Again,
Does that
Miles,
remember?
not till episode 3.
Yeah, but they say it.
No, it's just 4. It's at the 4. It's I'm getting a
Is
4
it 4?
It's fine. We can talk about it here.
based on my notes.
They
No, I'm
just
looking
casually
for
say
it.
So am I. I don't think it's in the first broadcast.
Yeah, and
It's in the first 4th episode.
Although I do love
in
in
episode 4 because
I do
have
love
it
in the
my
first
notes.
episode as everyone is how everyone is crowding around the TV, and then we just cut to Ensign Pikachu here, just clutching the amulet, like yes,
I got my girl.
right as he's just eyes closed, daydreaming out the window.
Yeah.
See, I thought he was passed out. He's tuckered out from all his hardcore activities.
Well, you get something that you'll see is very Gundam later. I don't want to spoil it, but getting permission or not getting permission from your superior commander and just hopping in a machine with like, yeah, whoever, just let him go, is the one thing that is the one thing I'm a big Tom about. That I'm like, all right, yeah, that's kind of spur of the moment. Yeah, can I just get out and fight? No, all right, I'm going anyways.
Well, I think him being already a commander was probably they already took note of that, so they're like, sure, whatever. But
So
could be
they
wrong.
reveal that he is. I mean, at the beginning of this episode, it seemed like these young men that they're bringing from somewhere, are all of the same rank, and it's like, no, this is our new CO, which is fascinating. Yeah, he doesn't seem very CO-ish, does he?
The ballsy guy himself.
Just
Copy
looking
man.
at their two character models, though, Miles, like the two of the Courage the Cowardly Dog and Ensign Pikachu look significantly younger than everyone else on that ship.
Yes, yes,
Significantly younger.
very much so. That's why I was like, he's got to be like 18.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So did I say
I
it
think he
before?
mid-20s.
Yeah, he's like 23.
He is 23, and sorry, I have the Gundam Wiki up, and the new format they use for it makes things load really slow. He is 23, and Mikkel is feel some dead air for me. Never mind. He is 18.
Aha!
Gotcha. Yep.
Called it.
It's a Miles and Tom age difference just about. So, works out. But yeah, I mean, Giran, well, the guy on the TV, Giran, I'll just say his name there. He does say it in his speech. He says Zieg Zeon, or Zieg Zeon, which is
About as subtle as a brick to the head.
very,
Yeah, right.
yeah. What do y'all feel about that?
You know, for a series that tells me that both sides in war is bad, they're clearly showing one party is very much on a very more extreme side than the other.
Right, yeah.
In a kind of reverse, like Occident Orient thing, it's like clearly meant to be Nazis, but it's like it's Prussia.
Yeah,
It's Prussia,
so-
basically.
We're kind of just smushing a lot of like Germanic
Ropes.
Yeah,
things
there's a
together,
lot of Germanic, like 18th century, or 17th, 19th century uniforms they're using it. I love 1800s, like pauldrons and gold, and while the Earth Federation's kind of seems a lot more like modern, like
Military.
yeah, like 40s to Nam era military.
Yeah.
I do want to point out, if we are, do you feel like the Zeons are like a fascist republic right now?
They're
Point
definitely
with
an
this.
opposing force to the Federation.
As far as by the end of episode 1, yes, they have been portrayed as a fascist force.
Do you
Something
feel
love the
like
matter, yeah.
they're like that is what wherever they are from is like? Just like their culture, their society?
Probably not.
Okay.
These are obviously leading questions, Miles.
Oh well,
Yeah, right.
Later, like episodes,
I'll
like
let
3
you
and
know
4,
right now.
that kind of address it.
I'm throwing out red herrings all over the place, so I am asking questions to tickle your brains. But before we go on to episode 2, what do you think of the Federation at the moment, though?
Stereotypical space Federation.
Okay.
Yeah, they're the good guys here to do
Pretty chill dudes.
To do good things,
Obviously,
yeah.
they have the moral high ground.
Gotcha.
Don't question it.
Don't
Yeah.
question.
Right?
Right.
They're fighting for peace. Obey or you won't receive peace.
Do you just something fascinating? Where did Shiro say he was from?
You said side 2.
Yeah, he's from a place called Side 2. They are Earth Federation though, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is what we are led to believe.
Yeah. They're
We're given very little information, Miles.
Oh, yeah,
In the first 4 episodes, there's very little information about what the structure. I'm having to make a lot of inferences.
I'm assuming what you're trying to lead to is that Earth was taken over by the Zeons, and then the people who were on Earth before, or the Federation, had to leave and go to Federation.
now
That's what I'm thinking. Is that what Miles is trying to hint at, or some crap? I don't know.
Let's give Kenny
Like,
some
if-
air. Do you want
if
to
you-
summarize
if-
that again, Kenny?
That I'm assuming, because based on I think episode 1 or 2, where they're saying they're taking over Earth, or I think the Zeon commander of the broadcast said that the Zeons were first on Earth, or everyone was together. Then essentially, Zeons took over it. Then the Federation left, and with Side 2 naming, I'm assuming that's a whole colony for the Federation. So Side 2 would refer to a section of the colony that they're from. Is what I'm thinking.
Okay, you think the Side 2 is a section of a colony? Okay.
Probably.
Do you guys have any alternating thoughts on that? That what the hell is going on in this war scenario? Tom, Leo. If you don't, that's all good. You can have.
No, yeah, I think it's plain as day. It's just the Federation are obviously from Earth. They're the good guys. Like Tom said, they have the moral high ground. The Zeons are obviously the evil McEvil man, and they must be stopped in the name of peace and galactic oneness.
All right. Well, it is fascinating that Shiro and these guys are from Side 2, and I will give a little lore drop right now just to tickle your brains, because I'm strategically giving you these things. Zeon, the place Zeon that the Zeons are from, is on Side 3. Do you have any thoughts about that?
Side. Okay, so now he's from Side. I thought they were saying sight.
Oh yeah, sorry.
The
Side with the
Side. Okay. SIDE.
Shiro
Okay.
and these guys are
We're from Side 2, and they're
You've
from Side 3.
instantly reframed a couple of theories.
Okay,
So,
I reframed a few theories.
fun.
Okay.
So I think Earth has been divvied up into these sides.
Okay. Fascinating.
And these sides are in a power struggle trying to take over either one or the other or all of
Earth, you think?
Yes.
So you think the Earth Federation is one of the different sides, that and Zeon is another side, and they're all vying for Earth, like to retake, like some Battlefield Earth stuff.
Basically, yeah, like some kind of unification war.
That's a theory, Tom. You said that. Just reframe some theories.
Well, so I have a lot of questions about basically all of the capabilities of Gundams, and you keep assuring me you're going to be able to answer them.
Oh, yeah.
So
We are going.
I'm assuming that there is a significant tech leap for with that tech specifically. There's also the whatever mumbo jumbo a Minovsky particle is. So with Side 2, Side 3, I am now assuming in one of our earlier colony worlds, whether within our solar system or outside of it, we encountered some sort of 2001 obelisk or allspark and are now living on it and reverse engineering it and getting tech from it and
That's
such.
fascinating.
Like Dead Space. What is it?
And I am
black
assuming
marker?
that
The marker. Yeah.
Earth is mostly a symbolic battleground because
Almost like a no man's land?
Like, no, as in like, yeah, we could do a total war and just wipe everybody out, or we could put some rules on this and say whoever holds Earth wins.
Okay.
It also could be an Athens and Sparta thing where it's, hey, our space navy is way stronger than yours, but we can't take you on the ground. So Xeon puts boots on the ground and haha, we're winning. And yeah, but
All right.
I can't judge technical superiority of one side's mechs versus the others at this point.
Please keep developing these theories. This is really good. And I know other diehard Gundam fans, fans that are way more than me, are either pulling their hair out of their heads right now or like mischievously holding their fingers and twiddling their mustaches listening to this. Please, everyone, calm down. We'll get there. But we'll
Keep it in your pants, you sick freaks.
yeah. We'll keep on going. I'll just, since I have the episode titles here, I'll say it. That was episode 1, A War for Two is the official title. Moving on to episode 2, Gundams in the Jungle. Before you give your summary, I will give you another just little piece of a lore drop because I know that's going to be interesting for things. This war is taking place in the year 0079. No, I will not elaborate on what that means, but
That's right. Yeah.
I did note that. And
I noted. Yeah.
I wanted you to elaborate on.
not yet.
And now he's refusing to.
The big thing
In exchange, will you answer, is water precious on side 2? Or was Ensign Pikachu just thirsty?
we'll get there. We'll get there in a sec.
That's funny.
Okay, I just want to say, because I'm going to let you lead with that. The other little drip feed of knowledge here is that this is intentionally supposed to be a future from our world. How far into the future? Anyways, this is at least the future from 1979 when the first series was made, which is also why it takes place in 0079, Universal Century 0079. But episode 2, just to frame things and also frame the whole Zeke Xeon thing. They are well aware of what that's from. Before we also carry on, sorry, I'm all over the place. Sorry, it's my first episode, a little nervous. We do have a nice moment of are you guys generally in the agreement that Xeon is kind of a Hitler, like fascist Italy style republic, or at least a Prussian autocracy, right?
As of the start of episode 2, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
There is something really interesting because when they see Shiro out in space, the two Zaku pilots, you know, they're kind of like, they could be like, yes, we gotta kill the enemy. Like, they could be full brain crushed. They're kind of like, nah, I don't want to fight today, and then just leave.
Yeah, but obviously important love interest tells him to leave it.
Yeah,
I know.
Who's obviously in a position of power to be like, oh, I don't get paid enough to say no to what she has to say.
but
it's their responses to her that let you know she's important. They're like, oh, yeah, obviously.
yeah.
Like,
but also, you know, they aren't bloodthirsty initially, right? Or what do you think?
No, because if they were bloodthirsty, they would have just shot on sight.
Yeah.
Like, they could have zapped him out of space like a speck.
Yeah.
Kidding me?
Or they could have disabled the Gundam that was coming to rescue Shiro again. So.
Well, the G,
But they did.
the mobile suit. This is going to be very hard for like the first little bit, but I'm sorry, I'm not trying to be that guy. Not everything is a Gundam. The mobile suit is mechs. You don't have to know the names or remember GMs and all that. I am there to do that for you. But
Gundams are Gundams.
Gundam's the one with the eyebrows, yeah.
we will discuss what classified and what isn't classified as a Gundam in a sec. We are at 7:45, so let's keep going. Sorry.
Episode 2.
Episode 2,
Gundams in the Jungle.
Jungle, yes.
So answer my water question. Is water precious on side 2, or was he just thirsty?
Not particularly.
I think homie was just hot because he was in The
Yeah, it used to have
mech.
an arm.
Yeah, it's that lowers
See,
the
learning.
likelihood of space colony for in my mind of like that's where I was going as of this, and that was evidence of space colony to me. But if water is not precious or precious, then it lowers the likelihood of like living on a station.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm running these episodes in the background as you're talking, so if I interrupt you ever, just stop me. I'm just gathering my own notes.
Yeah.
There is a really cool shot we get to see on the beginning of this episode where we can go through the names in a sec, but the shot that I always say the 8th MS team is one of my favorites, or possibly my personal favorite, at least short-term Gundam project, just because this is visually what Gundam parentheses older Gundam always looked like in my head. I know it's only from 1992. There is a shot of the first Gundam we get to see in the show, besides the intro, rising over the horizon, and it's like this cool forced perspective shot where it looks much bigger than it actually is. But it reminds me of a shot from Drakengard 1 where the Cyclopses are kind of rising over the horizon, but our boys and girl are riding into to town. Tom, take it away if you got thoughts or notes.
Hi, I'm Karen Joshua, and I'm an aggressive, sexy woman in the military.
Karen Joshua, heck yeah.
Yeah.
I like her, but that was a hard intro.
Yeah, she's definitely got a chip on her shoulder, doesn't she?
Well, it's like, I mean, you need to instantly let me know who these characters are, and that's her first appearance was throwing a wrench at a guy, and that's her second one. So like.
Off to a banging start, really.
I was gonna do this later, but this actually saves me time since we're doing characters now. How old? Guesses?
Mid-30s.
Yeah, mid-20s, mid-30s.
Early to mid-30s, yeah.
Kenny wins. She is 26, 3 years older.
Damn.
And she is a sergeant major, while Shiro, our boy, is just an ensign.
In the dub, he's calling her chief, which I was assuming was chief mechanic.
Ah, yeah, that makes sense.
But also, our buddy Courage the Cowardly Dog is writing support for Heavy Metal Elidor.
Yes,
Elidor. Because he rocks out, I like him.
Yeah, he's cool.
What I don't like, and you need to explain to me right now, is why are we using mechs when we have hover tanks?
Yeah,
hover tanks are better and cheaper, and they can't be kneecapped.
That should be.
They can't be kneecapped. I like that.
That's a good question, Tom. Anyways, back to Elidor. Elidor Mastis. Elidor Mastis is our. So hey, I'm never.
My mic didn't pick it up. I just threw my bottle across the room, Miles.
I am letting you know these answers. We will start getting answers today. But he is a pilot of a hover truck. He is 24 and he is a corporal. Elidor Massis. Pink Man is why I always think of him as, because he has a like pink undershirt and headband. I think it's actually Pilot, but whatever. But we got Big Muscle Woman and rock and roll dude who is co-pilot to Courage the Cowardly God, Mikael. And with Shiro, Mikael, Karen, and Terry and Elidor, we have our 8th MS team, our 8th mobile suit team. Sorry, I don't want to talk too much, Tom.
We will get to this. Yeah, I'm scrolling past that because we'll talk about that.
Yeah, they're all driving in towards
for that later.
The base.
Well, no, there's a little scene with our fascist socialite gets out of the spaceship and has a weirdly sexual interaction with her brother.
Yes.
So
just classic anime. I'm like, Big Brother, as I put my hands on your chest and stare into your eyes.
Right.
This project is finishing.
So we get to meet. We have our characters' names here. Aina, who is the girl who we met in Shiro met in space in the last episode, and then also her brother Genius Salahin.
Which nice flow, dude.
Oh, what'd you say?
Nice flow. I said nice flow.
Nice flow. Oh. Yeah.
I'm okay with Guineas right now. He doesn't seem overly fascist. He seems like a scientific fascist who's just in it for the funding.
Yeah, that's the best kind. To be honest, not kidding. Any guesses on ages?
Oh. Aina and
Aina.
Salakin?
Aina and Guineas. They're both
Salad.
There is talk of Aina recently becoming a fine young woman, which is great.
Which is
going with somewhere around
something.
18 or 21, and her brother, I'm going to put him with. If Karen's around 26, I'm going to put him at like 28.
I'm gonna put him at, yeah, I'd agree with Tom. Maybe put Salad Man at like 26.
I would put Aina at like mid-20s, and then Guinea is probably 30s, maybe. He looks older.
So, by the way, you guys' answers are adding to something. I am running a DM sheet behind the scenes here, by the way, for what you'll understand later. Tom wins this one. Aina is 20, and Guineas is 27. So they're doing the full like anime. You die as soon as you turn 30. You're a young man. I'm jet.
Life expectancy is garbage.
I'm jet black from Cowboy Bebop. I'm balding and have like wrinkles, and I'm like 35 going on. No. But Guineas, yeah, they. All right, so cultural sensitivity thing. We're gonna try our best not just like to hammer on things. I watch a crap ton of Japanese media. Because I watch a crap ton of Japanese media, there is a very common trope of the Oni-chan, older brother, younger sister relationship being a little...
Looking at you, no game, no life.
You know what? I was not expecting someone to...
Looking at you, no game, no life.
Usually it's same. Usually just in a lot of cultures around the world, because us here in the West are actually the weirdos, it is usually the point of the older brother to protect his little sister. That's kind of the job you're given in life. You by your parents doted on always protect your little sister. It does sometimes to American ears and eyes seem a little weird when that Oni-chan relationship is a direct non-blinking stare into each other's eyes and in like chest to chest wrap your arms around each other contact upon seeing each other. I got a younger brother and older sister. We don't greet each other like that, but hey.
Nope.
It does this. But they're close, clearly, aren't they?
Well, for me, I'm like, I was kind of like, oh, that's a weird incest vibe, but I know eventually we have to talk about it. It feels like Aina is adopted in a way, so maybe that's
I know with the difference in hair. It definitely seems she seems off in some kind of way.
She has a light, not even
like a light,
like green borderline blonde hair, and then Guineas is a more. He's got like full.
He's got the blonde, yeah. He's got the
yellow,
Super Saiyan gold yellow, yeah.
Yeah, he's got the. Well, it's like all swooped to the side, like got sucked through a vacuum.
They're both.
Y'all are stepping around the word Aryan.
I was about to say they're both beautiful, Ubermenches here of the glorious Zeon Republic. You think it is, but yeah. They meet and they're here on Earth to do something, and they're both Zeons.
Yeah, it's a very brief scene.
Yeah, very brief. But
he talks about his condition, needing to take meds and whatever. But we'll see.
Yep, and there's the spaceship that Tom loves so much.
I hate it.
Yeah, well, I'm using
so much.
I'm using the screenshots in general, by the way, to help us keep
Okay,
track
cool.
of
Take a
what's
screenshot of its wings folding, Miles.
wings
fold.
Have they gotten there yet? Because I'm sorry.
Yes, the wings fold very rapidly.
Well, I mean, did we?
That is how she arrives. She arrives in a stupid Xeon fighter. And then its wings split and fold up.
Okay,
like bull wing doors.
Sorry, we skipped about 5 minutes into the episode. I thought we finished with the guys at the base, but yes, we get.
I'm looking at that exact fucking frame.
I hate it. And I didn't even notice this the first time. I only noticed the folding wings on the second time through because I hadn't seen enough of it to hate it at that point yet. That comes in episode 3 and 4.
Here, I'll share my screen just a little bit for right now.
Tom, your seething hatred fuels me with joy. You gotta know, it's great.
I don't care for
I love how much you pick this
like
shit apart and hate it because it's so funny to me.
Yeah.
But it is all coming from a place where I had to watch it twice to take these meticulous notes of hatred.
There it folds.
I am enjoying this.
Gotcha. Here,
Explain that.
I'm so I don't spoil things for you. I'm gonna split this into its own thing here. Do you still see the episode running?
No.
No,
Okay,
but
cool,
I'm also just not gonna watch your stream anymore. If that's what you're doing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I was just gonna have the stream up so we can live talk about the episodes in time. Is it showing now?
Oh, that would actually be way easier to do.
Yeah. I'm gonna like skip around them, but yeah. Brothers, sisters meet. All that's going on. I was gonna say, since we went a little bit before it, we get our crew meets in the car and we have our nice little interaction.
Yeah, but that's just crew meeting stuff. That's exposition.
If you want to watch along, watch along. If not, you already know the exposition.
Yeah. But
Or you have no idea what's going on
So
because
I am happy that each mech or each mobile suit, each Gundam, will get the terminology eventually. Apparently,
you can just say mech or MS, mech, MS, mobile suit.
Each
I'm
mech does have a suitably sized support team. It seems.
Yeah. This 8th MS team is 3 pilots and then a little
Yeah, but it looks like there's like 40 mechanics on site.
Oh yeah, the Earth Federation is not financially at a loss for mechanics. Certainly, neither are the Zeons. Clearly, with their big Nemesis-looking bases. But keep going. You can skip to wherever you want to talk about things. We'll go to
I would just I just love how earnest he is, man. But yeah, they go out on a mission, and I did note something that I enjoyed was Commander Pikachu here. He's the only one wearing a jumpsuit in his cockpit. Karen's in a tank top, bro. Like,
So
you're trying too hard.
To bring that up, actually, these have a name. They are called normal suits. Is what they are called in universe. The suits that they have with the helmet, and Zeons and Earth Federations are called normal suits. I'm gonna guess in this first episode, just as a filmmaker, just as a visual storytelling thing, he's in his proper normal suit because he hasn't been in the shit long enough.
I mean,
he immediately peels it off.
Yeah, I was gonna say because it like fills with sweat, like Ace Ventura 2 when Nature Calls style, like.
Yeah.
Runs out of water, takes the thing off.
And they go on their first night mission.
See?
Yeah.
It's just like, this thing's so hot.
Yeah. But they go on their first mission at night to take on our first encounter with ground-type Zaku's here.
Okay, so the fact that you're saying ground type and space type answers a question for later, but it is in like the whole let me plant my microphones into the ground and identify mechs like it's a submarine using like cavitation profiles. I'm not buying it, man.
Why do you think?
Like there's because there's a reason we do that in the water, because sound carries better in the water. And so also later, when there is something flying, he's like, I'm picking up vibrations from a flying object.
So you think they're sensing for sound?
I mean, that's what
vibrations through the sound?
He's got headphones on, and he plugs something that looks like a mic into the ground.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely something in there.
Yeah.
And then he gets a screen with whatever these different colored wavelengths are.
Because they're like signals. Because each mech would send out like a certain signal, so I guess that would
I figured it was the sound of footprints and the gait that they're walking and like the certain rattle of certain pieces as like cavitation profiles on a submarine.
I'll let you know when there isn't or I don't have an immediate lore explanation for things. I do not know if that's this specific hover tank in its model has a explanation for what they're sensing for there. It could be one thing that we're not going to talk about today for a while, or my best guess is it's a combination of things, but the Earth Federation can certainly, or at least has been fighting these guys long enough that they have frequency waves.
Some kind of identification system.
Yeah. And we see our Zaku.
The ground type Zaku, as you'd love to put it. Which again, I love that Ensign Pikachu is just going off on his own. Just hi ho Silva.
Yeah, it's time for
dodging.
Cowboy stuff.
No dodging.
Extreme cowboy stuff.
Yeah, I gotta respect it. You know.
Okay, and then we trip. Which why are we using mechs that can trip when we have hover tanks? Genuinely confused.
Yeah. I'll skip to wherever you want to talk about things. And Elidor, because he has. It sounds like a girl's name to me. I'm messing up. Karen saves his butt, and it's very clear that he is green as all hell here.
Oh, absolutely, in his normal suit.
Yeah.
Well, he trips and he's like, "Oh man, I forgot I'm in gravity."
Yeah, he's like, "I forgot I'm not in space anymore."
So, had he seen action in Zero G before, or is this like literally the first time he's in a mobile suit?
What do you think?
I think it might be the first time he's in a mobile suit. Well,
I feel like he has been.
His abilities in the ball. I thought he'd done that before, and then this stuff happened. And I was like, "Is he a fresh recruit? Why is he commanding?"
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
Do you think that line about gravity is interesting in regards to wherever he's from?
Yes. I thought it was just character moment of him continuing to be naive.
Gotcha.
That's a yeah.
Yeah, it's just. Thought it was.
I'd say he's just so used to space combat, but yeah.
Right.
Oh, do you think he's just seen more combat in space, and that's why he's struggling?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I think he feels I think he feels a lot more comfortable in space, especially like in that first episode with the ball. Like he was getting creative with the grapple and everything in space, but now that he's
orbital mechanics,
right? But get his boots on the ground and he's tripping over tree stumps. Like
he forgets that.
Yeah, and he forgets that gravity exists.
Gotcha.
But then gets right back up and is like, "Oh, get him!"
Yeah.
But we move on and we see, is it Karen or is it Sanders pulls out this big old cannon right here, and actually it's multi-pieces and has a big fancy looking gun right here to take on however many the insurgents or enemies they're fighting here at night. And I personally, just as a big animation fan, I love when you have the like dark highlights on the suits in shadows. A lot of the original Gundam doesn't usually do that a whole lot, just because it was made in the 70s and things looking good in dark and black and white wasn't as easy to do back then. But everything right here in the jungle, from that nice purple of the beam saber coming out to him taking out this Zeke, the first one we get to see taken out in combat, it's really cool.
Well, if we're talking aesthetics, I would say then that the Zeeks have a very strong, like, trench warfare shock trooper feel.
Mm-hmm.
And
absolutely,
the Federation, the Gundams that we're seeing that the 8th team is using, whatever, very much like Shining Hero Knight vibes.
Oh yeah,
yeah, with the shield especially.
It's not soldier vibes. It's like
Knights of the Round almost.
Yeah.
I will say, just from seeing other things, the aesthetic of this, we'll get to their names later, but these specific Gundams that we're seeing in the 8th MS team is the least like samurai / medieval knight of typical Gundams. These mechs that we're seeing here in the 8th MS team look very much like military equipment and less regal, to my eyes at least. But I just love Gundam. I especially love the big giant pack.
I mean, compared to the Zaku's,
right?
Yeah,
they're very ostentatious.
But look,
absolutely.
Look at that big backpack he's got on there. That's
support weapon.
Yeah.
But I mean, if we also even just look at their color schemes, like all of the Zaku that we've seen up until this point have been this like dark green, which matches the dark green environment of the forest. Whereas the whatever these guys are using are just white, golds, reds, blues, and it's like, yeah, joke's on you guys. They're gonna be looking for army guys.
Do you think visual combat versus automated and like IR combat's like a thing in this world?
So that's why I was comparing it to submarine combat, is because a lot of it seems to be visually acquiring your target before they acquire you. Because if we're all in big walking tin cans, but we're also all carrying huge, just blow the top off a mountain cannons, it comes down to who shoots the other guy first.
So who finds, who can get the shot off.
Audience at home, guy who's smiling, please keep it in your pants. But yeah, Shiro gets lost in the jungle here, and we have this nice little thing of him just...
Yeah, see the Ace Ventura just scene in the Rhino.
you have this thing of like, yeah, why is this 23-year-old kid commander? And besides the beautiful like landscapes with the sun coming over the horizon in this 90s animation here, he gets lost and he ends up getting out of it into the mud. He gets leeches on his arms. He leaves the mobile suit behind
And finds boobies.
Yes, he finds
Yeah, I did not expect. I did not expect that, but I was like, "Hey, I'm with it."
Weird
so what
anime
happens?
90s vibes.
So what
He
happens?
sits down like a creeper and watches.
And watches
Yes.
too.
Dear Lord.
I forgot what
Hold
it
on,
was.
I have an intro for her, but it's in episode 3. Where is it?
Oh, you have a nickname for her too?
Hi, I'm Kiki Rosita. I'm a spunky gorilla fighter who's equal parts. Wow, you're so cool. And don't get any weird ideas. I love her.
Sweet.
Okay.
So we meet Kiki, who's this like little spunky redhead kid who's bathing in the forest, and Shiro's trying to get water.
Just a gun.
And she,
Yeah, man was just trying to drink, and then
this,
ta-da!
yeah,
Weird 90s vibes.
yeah, 90s vibes. Side note here. This is gonna sound weird. Sometimes I don't know. Just watching a lot of modern anime. Hey, I love anime. I love the community. Sometimes you will take like some weird 90s like nudity over like 2000s 2010s. Hey, we're watching Konosuba. Here's Darkness's breast.
I'll be right back.
All over the place.
That's fair.
But it is a little uncomfortable considering this character here. What do y'all think of Kiki at least here?
Based off of first impressions, I think I should look away. Exactly.
I was gonna save it. Any guesses? Age here?
I mean, based on how you're laughing, I'm assuming it's young. Too young.
back.
I'm gonna go.
Such. So let's hope 18.
Oh,
Discussing her age, I looked at that
go-
and I said, wow, it was fucked.
all right. So I will say
just
older
got
than
back.
she could be considering anime, but
Okay, I'm gonna
I
go.
said hope, Miles. I'm hoping.
Yeah, I'm gonna go. Give me 15.
all right, Tom.
I mean, you want a real guess?
Yeah.
15's pretty good, but I'm gonna lowball it further. I'm gonna go 14.
All right.
Ah,
Oops.
Kenny.
I already looked at the page.
Okay,
Because
yeah.
I never looked at it, but I'm like, oh, well, all right.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. She is 17, which is
Son of a bitch.
older than she
All
could
right.
be.
That's fair, that's
Considering
fair.
Japan's consent laws are it's as uncomfortable as it is the consent laws
Yeah.
in Washington State here, but a little too young for Cheryl to be like ogling her like this and being like, "Wow, she's."
I do love that she just pulls
There's
out
a
a
reason
gun
for it,
out of
Miles.
nowhere.
That's why I was like, all right, who's this? Is she? Her first move is just pull a gun and shoot.
What do you think about that gun, by the way?
Look,
It's a gun.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm not a gun guy. I don't know. It's a gun.
It ejects casings. It's
It is a ballistic firearm.
yeah.
I've seen that style before, and I think it was used primarily, I want to say, by like you were saying, those Russian, almost Germanic.
It looks kind of like a Russian service weapon. I don't know actually the specific guns.
Yeah, I don't.
I'm sorry. I thought the two white boys with no guns. It feels like y'all are born. with-
I'm not that far.
I know.
I don't lean that far, bro.
I know. It's all good. It's all good.
I can't. No, I can't make that.
I know how to shoot him. I don't know pedigree.
It's all good. But we get a little bit more of the dastardly twins hanging out and talking about a test unit, and then we
Bold of you to call them twins.
yeah, the blondes, and then we see a big ugly wrinkly guy behind them, and
Ah, some type of world governor looking motherfucker.
yeah, is he does he look like a world noble from One Piece?
You mean 40K? But I mean, One Piece is close
you're
too.
thinking world governor. I was thinking world noble from One Piece.
Oh, you're thinking? No, I'm definitely thinking like world governor from 40K.
God.
Very ostentatious. You know, that size of portrait speaks volumes.
Yeah.
And just that golden, like what Salad Man was wearing in that first episode we meet him. That that golden style like coat with like the almost Aquila looking insignia.
Yeah. You said salad, man. Salahin. Guinea is
I-
salad.
Close enough.
I would like to point out that the watch is what alerted Kiki that he was there, and then we cut to, brother, isn't it time for your medicine? And then there's another later time when the watch goes off again, so I'm assuming these are regular meds.
Oh,
He had it.
I didn't pick up on that.
That's a smart man. Smart man.
What I'm here for, dude.
That's what he's here for. Those are personally.
That's
filmmakers.
why I like drip feed me canon, and
Yeah.
I will continue to form wild theories.
But we see more like beautiful '90s foliage. I know. There are very few like animes of this era and this art style that have like jungle stuff like this. So I'm like soaking it all in because I just love like tropical jungle stuff. But
Do we have a vague geographic location of where they are? 'Cause I was
None
assuming
whatsoever.
South
I
Asia.
will.
I just keep
have-
saying it. This whole anime gives me Nam vibes.
Yeah,
That
it's
just
very
means that.
Vietnam. I will say it now. They are at a place called Jaburo, or the area around it. Do you have any guesses where Jaburo is?
Northeast Africa.
All right, Northeast Africa. That's one.
If we're going,
I'm gonna go Nom.
Nam. Okay.
That's what I was saying. Yeah.
Nam may
Nam
be a little
vibes.
too literal. I'll give you a clue. They're next to
That's
a
fair.
very famous river.
Oh, fucking South America.
Yes, Jaburo is right on the Amazon River basin in South America.
Huh.
That is where the majority of this show takes place and is. I was thinking if I was going to save this for later, but they don't like necessarily super point it out, so
But they don't say jack of shit.
yeah. But yeah, episode keeps going. The guy
They mentioned the Reaper.
Yeah, we get some
and
more of that.
Sanders is a friggin'
Reaper dreads.
yeah. He's scared. Shiro gets scared by birds, and then we get a little bit more combat here at the end, and he does something really cool here, which is he physically pulls out this little viewfinder.
Like aim, yeah.
The reticle.
Yeah.
Luke, you turned up targeting.
So
What's wrong?
that's like this is what I'm talking about with the whole submarine fighting.
Mm-hmm.
It, like
I want to go back.
he
to
know
that
he
show.
knows the other guy's there. Whatever shut down whatever would be broadcasting from him. I'm assuming you're like off of the support truck. I assume you're tracking noise, IR signals, radio, and anything that could be coming off that mech to try and pick it up and acquire a target.
In about 20 minutes and 5 seconds, we get this really nice shot of the digital reticle and this green reticle over his eyes, and he without hesitation goes and takes the shots immediately at the Zaku and nearly bricks it with his gun here. And it runs at him and pulls out something really cool.
I do love the plasma axe.
The axe, plasma axe, yeah.
Like to know official name?
Beam axe.
It is not beam weaponry. I'll give
Damn
you
it.
a clue. It is called a heat hawk. All Zaku
Oh.
hawks. Yeah, so Gundams have beam sabers like we saw earlier in the episode, and Zaku's have heat hawks. And just there's this amazing slow motion moment of him just tearing this thing to shreds.
Getting
around.
Swiss.
Yeah, just getting swissed all over the place. And after defeating it, we pretty much get the end of our episode of him returning to base, and he's asleep and the mobile suit is on auto move mode walking back to the base.
Because that's so strategically intelligent.
Yeah.
I don't know where it is in this episode, but I did like the fact that Quonset Hut is still the optimal design for what is essentially an airfield with all of these mechs. And I love the fact that they have barbed wire around the edge of their base, even though everyone's in giant suits.
Well, I'm not sure if you.
I mean, there's some human units still.
I'm not sure if you
Yeah.
paid attention earlier. There actually was a sizable number of human, like not necessarily infantry, but just
Yeah, and that's
servicemen
why I
as
was
they're
saying
going.
like each mech has a sizable support team. I was glad that was actually followed.
Do you think they're well,
Each one of these mobile suits would have a huge logistics train.
just looking at the
Like-
intro, do you think it is exclusively mech warfare in this world, or do you think they get any on foot action here?
Probably mix.
Yeah,
And
probably
if
mixed.
So why? Well,
Probably because mobile suit. I'm assuming mobile suits take way more resources to manage, and if they do
100%.
get like tanked out, it's like, well, we have to go on foot, so
Right,
they take
at the
a
end of the
longer
day, they're
time
still
to repair.
soldiers.
Yeah. That's how I see.
well, that's
They
Even
can't.
with their versatility, the cost comes out of how long it takes to repair, how long it takes to re-ammo them, how it's a risk versus reward type, even with how good they are.
Gotcha.
But yeah, that's how I see it.
Any last thoughts on Gundams in the Gundams in the jungle, or you good to move on?
I'm pretty sure.
Good to move on, yeah.
Sweet. Well, we get episode 3, the time limit on trust, and I'm gonna let y'all take the lead on this just because I've been talking for a bit over that second episode.
Oh yeah, episode 3. Don't fear the Reaper.
Yep. And I think we're about to kneecap someone. So please explain to me why mechs are better than hover tanks. It makes no sense.
That question will be answered in time. For now,
Like it's in his second he hits they're one well-placed shot to the Achilles tendon and down goes the Zaku. So
That's true.
love that.
they do seem, at least in this series, the Zaku and Gundams are at least like they're Swiss cheesing through each other real easy.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, like heavy caliber weaponry. Just fucking mauling through them.
We've got I think it's an Elidor line coming up soon that's must have pretty good ears over there. So that again is suggesting to me that he's listening and submarine style warfare. They're also taking artillery fire, so we still have that. But
And
yeah, Zaku's covered in bushes is fun.
they're fighting these things pretty well now, like better than they were doing at the end of at the beginning of episode.
At the beginning of 2, yeah.
Yeah. He's got a cool safari shirt on now. Like he's learning.
Right. He's definitely
Dreads
spent.
McGee has no undershirt. Like
He's got a different. Rocker Man has a different colored headband. Like obviously things have changed.
Yeah, a little bit of time.
yeah,
passed.
see, so like
How much
Elidor's
time?
talking about like someone has figured out our position and is shooting artillery at us. So that's like, if I'm in a giant suit, like why aren't you just shooting at me from far away? And there's the answer, is yes, they do.
Yeah. I forgot what I was gonna say. Carry on.
Yep. Good old trench warfare.
How long do you think like time is passing between these episodes?
Like a few weeks, maybe months.
Yeah,
It's the
I'd give at least a couple weeks.
I was gonna say weeks at most.
Gotcha,
Yeah,
gotcha.
like 2 weeks at most, if that. Like, he definitely seems to have somewhat better grasp because, whoever mentioned, I think it was Tom, that was like he's got a different colored shirt on. Like he's not in fucking Galactic Federation threads,
Hot suit.
Yeah, right. Not just what is assigned to him, but actually adapting to the environment around him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
We are
Wallow-
getting a lot of Freddy foreshadowing right now, also, as we lead up to meeting the gorillas.
Yep.
It's like,
Yeah.
wait, there are gorillas at the waterfall? Yeah, and you better watch out. They may sneak attack you.
Also, real and
Hey, Chekhov, what are you doing with that gun?
I love how he's cleaning out this this chamber.
Maintaining the condition of the gun.
Yeah, I love how
Interesting.
that seems to be the our like support team's job rather than the actual pilots of like, yeah, you gotta clean out the, forgive me, not chamber, slide, whatever this would be on a gun.
That would be the breach.
The breach, yeah.
I don't know.
The guns. Just so we're just as a little trivia thing, since we had a little bit of dead air there for a sec. Any guess why these were the real life reason why they're called Gundams?
No.
Take the word
Uh,
take the word gun, take the word freedom. Gundam.
I don't believe you.
I don't believe you.
But as he goes forward, he goes back to the waterfall where we are at in episode 2, and he meets our friend Kiki with some friends who are giving it to him on creeping on her the other day, which is hilarious. They're
Foreshadowing.
They're a little
That's
bit.
Pikachu.
They lay off on him a little bit more in the Japanese than they do in the dub. But in the dub, they're like, "Yeah, we didn't even get to see her naked, bro," which is very uncomfortable because she's 17.
Yeah, he's like, we didn't even get that.
Yeah,
I
it's
did
like,
not
"Oh,
get
you
that
were
dialogue."
lucky, man. They also at some point they call him a fart head, which is great.
Yeah.
But I did just notice a couple better shots of his gun, which looks significantly more sciencey and spacey than it did. Especially compared to their like real old like Browning M2s.
Well, it's really good. It's got some nice rifling inside there. It is most certainly a military serviceman's weapon. By the way, when he opens this cockpit, I'm not sure if you know this, because the Gundam's cameras are on the eyes, she landed not over the actual cockpit itself. Where they're viewing out of is directly not from the torso where they are at, but the eyeballs right above it. Just up.
That's why she's up there. That makes sense.
Yeah. But these guys have clearly encountered Federation guys before, huh?
Yeah, not their first rodeo.
But it also doesn't seem to be like it seems
too
like
established.
Well, first off, I mean, they seem dirt poor when we get down in a second. But it was like, hey, that's a Fedi pilot. Like, it seems less like you're an occupying force as like those are the cops with the fun gear. And like Zeon seems to be the occupying force, at least to these guerrillas.
Yeah.
Like that's who they're conducting guerrilla actions on.
So you feel like if they're neutral, the guerrillas are at least more against the Zeon, but they're not too fond of the Federation either. Also, I love that you said Fedi, because we get two slang terms, Zeeks and Fedis, sides of this war here. Very big.
I'm assuming these are all Earthborn people.
I think that would be an accurate assumption, at least from what you've seen, huh?
You're just a kid, right? Slap.
Oh, so he wasn't wrong when he kept saying
she
that.
is a kid.
No, that's good.
We go a little bit further, and we get our best boy keeps riding to
Courage Cowardly Dog.
Oh, fuck him.
To who we can assume to be
Episode 4 makes me mad.
His girlfriend in Canada.
Wife in space Canada, BB.
Yep.
Who's kind of our
You did though. Sorry, you skipped past an interesting design component.
Okay.
I think. Is that like a USB port in the Gundam's hand when it like connects to the weapon?
Oh,
right.
Like I think it's right here. One of them. It might be later. But there's a shot of a Gundam like reaching to like
That's when they're raiding the
grab onto a rifle, and it looks like he's got like a
like an insert or something.
Okay, wait. He literally just said sonar panel.
okay. Is it just so? Okay, cool.
Yes. Okay. Elidor's using sonar. But the USB port thing, that looks cool. All right, but it seems like an obvious like breakpoint. Like if I rip that gun out of your hands somehow, it like
You think
The gun just stops working like a dead man.
Yeah, but like now, how are you going to interfere? This right here, it's about to happen. We got this cool like armory crate, and then he's got this little like USB port in his palm, like, and then his eyes glow of like
Recognition or like some kind of computer activation.
Like that's cool, but now if I like turn that sideways, does it just like break that out of your palm? It seems like a design flaw.
So
man.
I'd make obviously I want to leave this up to y'all. I'd guess that is for the most part not a problem in this world. I'm not sure if there's any literature on it, but it does extend out. It's very subtle in the animation there. It probably will assume is whatever technology they have for interfacing with their weaponry here.
That's kind of what I was chewing on. It was just like it's some kind of universal thing that, you know, the robot clutches the weapon, the computer within the robot goes, yes, this is this kind of weapon. This is the necessary data and information.
You're the right machine or side to be using this, right?
Right, yeah. Like, this is compatible. This is a thing. This is what we're doing. Here you go.
Well-
Have a good day.
Yeah. Well, I mean, off camera, me and Tom had a big conversation about integrated versus non-integrated weaponry, and why the hell they have weapons that you have to pick up instead of just having them a part of you, right?
Yeah, but I mean, we'll start with why are we not using hover tanks?
Sweet Jesus.
Keep on going.
Um,
They do use
Yeah,
the hover
and-
tanks. They use the Gundams.
yeah, but for support,
As support vehicles.
they use them as a spotter. And then we meet Gorilla Homeland, and they're poor, but the boss has a big house. The
Yeah,
boss
they got
seems nice and rich.
chickens. They got 90s
Really?
anime chickens. They're little barefoot. They're living in shacks. It's very South America, like homely, but like honest. Like this is a small, friendly like community of people that protect each other, and they have this little home base here. And we meet someone that Kiki is calling
That was
Dad.
Yeah.
not the vibe I got, man.
Another weird incest
I
vibe.
got the vibes I got was hastily constructed after we were displaced from our real home.
Well, sorry, and I know where we're looking. This is gonna go on Spotify and YouTube, no visuals. The buildings in the camp that they're at around 9 minutes, to me, look like those are shoddily put together, but the actual like head base, like
Concrete. Like
Yeah, the
this.
guy with
like
money.
the actual house. Yeah, well, of course.
This looks like it is a place that is established here and has been established and well built.
It definitely seems almost like rural, like just kind of village type. Like you were saying, that kind of south. Like, well, this is in South America, but I almost get like that kind of like Southeast Asian vibes of like just the rural, like more village type
Yeah. Do you
architecture. That's the word.
Do you think these places on Earth have kept their cultural identities and like
Fuck no.
cultures this far into the future? Oh, you don't think
No.
South America seems like South America? Do you think in New York or LA or Seattle in this
The-
world seem like those
The
places?
fact that it was reading as South Asia to me, no, it doesn't seem like South America.
No.
Kiki's a
I
redhead,
would-
dude.
Yeah, I would.
Like,
In these types of settings, I would never assume, especially when there's such controversy about the state of Earth as a whole, signifies to me that culture is just kind of out the fucking window. This is the culture.
Do you think they have like concepts of race and cultures and ethnicity? Is this a post-racial? Is this a colorblind world where we don't see race? Do you think that's what this is?
I think that's not what the story is about. So yeah,
Yeah.
Gotcha.
There's
Yeah,
only
we just
two
kinda
parts,
gloss over it. It's
Xeons
just
and
like-
feds.
Yeah, exactly. It's like you're on this side of the line, you're on this side. We don't care if you're black, white, or fucking purple.
Gotcha. Well, it's fascinating. But we keep going and we meet someone who I actually don't know if this is her biological father or not. I've
Yeah, I don't.
rewatched a bit of this as I was going on, but the commander is someone she has her arms wrapped around, and I'm going, for the sake of my own sanity, to assume that this is indeed her dad and not someone she is calling daddy for the
God, I hope so.
Again,
and he's a
More
leader.
weird.
He's a leader. of
incest
the
vibes.
Nemesis.
So no family like visual lineage whatsoever.
Yeah, you know, I've met parents that don't look like their kids, but yeah, he at least is knowledgeable of the Federation and what they're doing there, and he's like, yeah, he didn't kill Shiro immediately, so they're at least partial to them in their struggles, huh?
well, it's my assumption was that after like clocking him as a Fedi pilot, she went back home and was like, "Hey, let's ambush this guy, and maybe we can get him to do something for us, or at least steal his suit."
Yeah.
Right.
But I do like that they're finally like, yeah, we'll let you go as soon as he promises them all the spoils.
All
of
this,
war.
all the loot. Yeah. Right.
Riz Master.
Well, the team's
Got a
going
Xeon now.
with
Where is this?
Hiding under an overpass is cool. I like that.
that's really
Mhm.
Or under an elevated road.
yeah. Do you think the South America got to be a bit more developed in this world than it did in ours, or do you think it didn't?
I mean, if we're going off Earth Federation, I'm assuming that it's a kind of UN super government style thing. So yes.
Yeah. Like got technologically advanced, but not for the sake of like just the people, but for the sake of the setting and the conflict going on. much in the same way that in 40K they colonized Mars for the sole sake of, hey, let's turn this into a factory.
I don't have that unit in my notes, but just on our screen right now, we had something really cool come up there, and we see just munitions firing off, and some more like implied trench weaponry on from the hillside here towards the road where our Gundam teams are, from the Xeons towards the Gundams.
Those giant caltrops are tank traps too, which is hilarious that they're placed right on the edge of a ridge, or like on the edge of a cliff. Which is like even a hover tank isn't coming up a sheer cliff face right into your tank traps. So
yeah,
just there for aesthetic purposes.
Yeah. But beat up Shiro, take away the gun, and they're like, yeah, we need something out of you.
I love that he's all like, just completely pleading, and this dude is just completely unfazed. Like, could not care less. I've got my own things to worry about, couldn't care less about Federation. And he's like, oh yeah, you can have all this stuff. And he's like, oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, and he clearly is like, yeah, if you need medicine, Shiro's like, we'll help you. And he's like, well, besides medicine, we want Zeon to friggin' suffer. So clearly more at least amicable with and towards the Earth Federation than they were with Zeon, huh? Yeah. Sorry, I'm gonna skip through because no, we don't. We're just watching it.
Yeah, the next thing I have is the river combat, and why is he not sinking into the muck? But you won't tell me how much these things weigh, so I don't know if that's a real thing or not.
We will get into them, but yeah, he's like, yeah, we only got 30 minutes. We get this little Evangelion. This is before Ava, by the way, too. Ava moment of him and Kiki like bickering inside the mobile suit cockpit there. And he keep on talking. Sorry, I'm checking some notes on things. No dead air.
Nine. I mean, this is still that mission, and I mean, everything is still leading up to like the overarching premise of this episode, which is Sanders, like, everyone's supposed to be dying, and things are not going to plan. And which I'm sure Sanders is very happy that he wore the brown pants today.
Bad luck, Sanders, huh?
Yep.
And we get to see a mobile suit just take a direct hit there, and then we get to see Kiki and Shiro underneath the water here in the mud, just going.
As the rest of the team is just it's storming Normandy.
Yeah, fighting their way up a hill into a fortified position.
Because that's just the greatest of tactical ideas.
Yeah. There is, after the river bit, there's an airborne attack, which I don't understand again why I'm not just using aircraft to launch missiles at you from far away. Also, holy Bismarck von Sharkhead, Batman. Those are so crowdy.
Not to mention the Shredder helmet on the back of you.
Straight kraut.
Yeah.
You can feel the Prussian dream being crumbled by Napoleonic France just all over this, huh? Just in their look and
well, I mean, the guy turns around and he's got wireframe glasses, and he might as well just, what is your order, mein Führer? He's so crowdy.
Hiding enemies of the state. Yeah, very.
Yeah.
But if we know this just real right there for like a brief second, the Zeon soldiers are their helmets are a little bit different. And yeah, audience at home, we are not just watching through the episodes, we're skipping through it. So if you want to know what we're talking about, please make sure you watch this at home. We're gonna get better at describing these things, so don't feel like you're missing out over here. We just have a screen up for our own information, but
our own sakes, yeah.
We get this little like subplot in the latter 5 minutes of the episode, the latter half, the latter third here, of these two Zeon pilots talking about pincer maneuvers and trying to outmaneuver the Gundam pilots, which is really cool. And the guy's like, "Yeah, I'm going out in my Zaku. We getting out of this ship," which is cool.
Yeah, and then we have a river fight, and he's like, "They have a guy who can fight underwater." Like, what is different about fighting underwater than fighting in 0G as far as equipment goes? Like, The medium, yeah, it's a little it's denser, so you
Denser,
gotta
yeah.
compensate. But like, he's acting like it's some special skill. Like he clearly has a periscope. That's for fighting underwater. What other purpose could he possibly have a periscope for?
Oh, you think that's a fascinating question, Tom. I really love this moment of the Xeon guys kind of slipping down the hill, and then the gorillas being able to take him out that easily. It's clearly
Lol
that
Ewoks.
they full
Lol, Ewoks.
like episode 6
Episode.
of just throwing. They know where to throw grenades and explosives into their transports to take out Zaku's, and it's
Well,
clear.
they take him down with lassos, man.
Yeah.
Like they knock him
Yeah.
down with ropes. I do like that they still respect, like, hey, this is Lancer and humans have 1 HP, and they just immediately run away. But
And they're still fighting the Xeon Chopper.
yeah, not super mad about that chopper. It just looks like a really anime design Russian hind. So I'm okay with that. I do have a note of the super crowdy guy with the glasses. He just screams die and dives right at Dreads McGee.
Tom,
Like,
while we're doing this,
I love it.
Please read the name of that battle helicopter. We'll do proper names of things here in a little bit.
Battle heli.
Yep. Battle Heli. Which
Super
is
imaginative.
the least Xeon name of most of their machines. But yeah.
Oh man, it's got so many windows.
But yeah, they're very clearly instructed with this little scene at the end with Karen and
Why does? Okay, never. I was gonna say why does it have a skylight, but that doesn't. I don't care.
Gotcha. But they help the gorillas liberate the village, and we get this awesome rocket just like this RPG thing of blowing up the battle.
Fucking coffee baby versus nuke moment, my
Yes.
lord.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking. Like, why would you even go in helicopter versus
That's
them?
what I'm saying. He's like,
Right.
"Fly," and he
What the fuck?
dives in towards it.
There's also around the 1940 mark, Zaku leaps out and practically burns through this Gundam shield just like halfway through with a heat hawk, which shows that heat hawks are effective. They may not be beam weaponry, it may just be heated metal, but damn, is it good. And really cool underwater fight in the mud in this
Which
river.
why are they not sinking into it?
Yeah. And fight goes good, awkward cockpit shenanigans, and yeah. Any more
The
notes
retreat.
here for episode 3?
Just a little dialogue note of where I pulled that the further that the gorillas are like mostly aggressive with Xeon, but that they also don't work with the Fetties if they're like, hey, we actually got them to work with us. Which implies they're like a almost third-party antagonist, but
Yeah.
which we see from them stealing, like ripping all of the stuff out of Elidor's truck.
Well, we're gonna pick up the pace just a little bit here and call that it for episode 3. Because I actually have a big lore drop. I wasn't meaning for this to go over 2 hours here, but we'll keep it going. Episode 4, the final for this batch we're watching here today, which has the glorious title of The Demon Overhead. Tom, any notes to start with?
Big ol' secret weapon test, giant flying death ball.
Yeah.
And a lot of shots of the fighters I hate. A lot. This is when the fighter hate started.
Oh, yes, you've seen their fight.
There's Mayakovsky particle mention, which I'm just going with. It's Minovsky, whatever. I'm going with that's just Gundam Unobtainium. It does whatever sci-fi thing we need it to do. Right now, I don't have enough information. They also
That's the
mentioned plasma
explanation.
generator, so
I will.
there are no discernible engines on this death ball. So, is it using anti-gravity? Yes or no?
No.
No. Okay. Theories will continue.
Gotcha. But in this early episode, we get to see Aina as the pilot of our machine here. Did they say the name, or am I?
Oculus.
Osperus.
obsolescence, like obsolescence.
Apsaris.
What I heard.
It's Asperis. It is Asperis.
Yeah, that's Apsaris.
That is not what it sounds like in the dub. It
Yeah,
sounds
in
like
the dub, it's kind of weird. It is Apsaras. Asperis. Apsaris.
Apsaris.
Yeah.
Apsaris.
weird.
Yeah, but we get to see a nice Xeon test with Aina and then Ginius, who appears to be overseeing this weapons testing that Aina's piloting here. And big round circle machine that does things, huh?
Yeah, it's a flying machine that has shoulder spikes. I love it.
Yeah, mentions of how it's Salahin's dream.
Yeah.
Okay, I found it. Sorry.
Ginius Salahin and Aina Salahin. And yeah.
I am also from them. I'm getting a little more of like
Make sure you say who them is.
Cities, the Salahines, like Venetian city-state nobility amid a like recently arisen fascist system.
Gotcha. You feel like these are noblemen.
They're for sure noblemen. Also, when we get to, you just passed the frame, but is that Coke product placement?
It looks like it is. It is just short of it because his hand is over where the logo would be. But we get to see our rival pilots in little black-haired cutie girl over here, and then generic military soldiers that are teasing Sanders for being
The Reaper.
for some reason. Yeah. And he friggin' yanks dude out of his friggin' Jeep, makes him break his soda, and
Kills the product placement.
yeah.
The other really great tiny little character moment I love during this whole scene, one with the great thing of just some sporting competition between MS teams, sir. And in the background, when it all breaks up, the old mechanic dude who's taking bets, he just goes, "Well, I guess it's all for me," and just puts his hat back.
Takes the money. I love that.
Like
I love that old dude.
He's my favorite.
I love this little moment of Shiro coming in to break up the fight too.
Yeah, because he's so earnest.
Yeah, he's like, guys, we're all friends, and we get to see more GMs there in the background, so you, at least visually, you guys can see their difference from Gundams. Any thoughts about GMs, by the way?
General Motors.
Earlier model or model not using reverse engineer technology.
That's what you think. You think Gundams are using reverse engineer technology,
or that that a GM is more general purpose, or is maybe an infantry version of the unit, while a Gundam is more of a
Spec Ops or armored cav. I don't know. I haven't seen any really other units other than the supporting hover tanks, some enemy aircraft, mention of enemy artillery. So like I can't make a lot of assumptions about this war until I get more data.
Gotcha. And I just noticed, I didn't even pick up on it. This the guys who fight them are the 7th team versus the 8th team.
I do love how when Ensign Pikachu here comes in to quote unquote intervene, he doesn't like try to do anything like actually like as one would expect a high-ranking officer to do. He just comes in swinging.
He's like, he's on site for my boy.
Right, like, I'm not here to break up the fight. I'm not here to resolve the conflict or any way, shape, or form. Nah, that's my boy. How dare you?
And then after that, we get... this is where I got a lot of the Venetian stuff with the Salihin family, is we get some socialite scenes. Gotcha. With the Xeon upper crust. Clearly, Aina, clearly she's a big deal. Like, she's a test pilot, so, like, that's a big deal. There's a lot of creepy mention of her being attractive by men who are definitely, like a significant age gap.
Yeah.
Or at least,
like, hey, bro, your little sister really grew up. Like, it doesn't come across great.
But it also is fascinating you brought up that, like, she is important here. Do you think there's a shortage of pilots for some reason that can pilot or do what she does for some reason? That she's coming out in this big...
See, I think it's reading it more as an Amelia Earhart situation.
Yeah.
Like, oh, wow, you're a really good pilot and you happen to be, like, a hot celebrity.
Gotcha.
It's definitely giving more of like one of a kind vibes. I think it's mostly just the hair, but it's kind of giving me like C2 vibes from Code Geass. But it definitely seems like she is special in some way, shape, or form that we are not to know about right now.
Funny, you brought up Code Geass, same production company, was meant to be a modern, not Gundam, but another mech franchise by Sunrise, as they were branching off about a decade after this came out. And we get the boy himself, who's voiced by Timmy's dad in the dub and Cosmo, Yuri Limingway Kellene. Who's just friggin' awesome. I love this dude.
Coming in with that Wolverine hair.
His
dude, just total Wolverine.
his arms are pushed. His sleeves are pushed up past his elbows, and that is Timmy Turner's dad's in Cosmo's voice from Fairly Odd Parents.
And I can't decide if I love him for breaking decorum or hate him for being a creep. Like, I don't have enough data yet.
He is very much one of those, like, yeah, you would be so cool if you weren't working for like the friggin' fascists, huh?
Yeah. I do have a note in here. For those of you who know what this is a reference to, this is my I don't trust Clarota moment. Aina is gonna kill him when she switches sides. I'm calling that now.
Aina, her brother, or
the Yuri. There's gonna be some sort of violent action between Aina and him, and he's gonna So that's gonna be her cement. Like Aina's switching sides.
You think Aina's switching sides, and she is going to kill Yuri?
Yes, there will be a violent action between the two of them.
Ladies and gentlemen at home, keep it in your pants. Yuri, also keep it in your pants, please, away from this young woman you probably...
for crying out loud, don't make us do the sound effect.
But this scene here on the porch, too, with the butler, is also where I got a lot of the royalty noble vibes.
You think that's Butler there?
Well, I mean, it's
her attendant at this.
Servant.
So I'm assuming her brother is like a science officer or something, and that's a bodyguard or something at this, like some kind of attendant that is either provided as her brother's rank or her family's station.
I'll let you know right now.
I thought that was the same guy from the previous episode.
This man's
in
name
the helicopter.
Is that the same guy?
Could be. No, they look all the same.
It's hard to tell without his sharp.
Yes, it is. Yes. So this man's name is Norris Packard. He is 38, and he is a Xeon colonel.
Okay. So he's there as a friend and confidant.
Basically.
Gotcha. Yuri. He does come off very butlerish because he is.
Just like the distance he keeps and like his body language.
He is very much not interested in creeping on this young girl.
Contrary to popular opinion.
We also get to meet, going back to Yuri, any guesses on his age?
I'll give you 32.
Let's see if Guineas
is 27.
27. Tom, you said what?
I'll bump it down to 29 if Guineas is
29. Son of a bitch. Fine, I'm going to lowball you too. I'm going to go 28.
I'll say 30s.
Insanely, this goes to Leo.
Let's go!
He is 26. He is younger than Guineas.
Oh,
damn. Right. Okay.
Yeah. Much taller, bigger guy.
Yeah. Definitely would not have guessed, honestly.
I suppose he does have annoying little brother energy.
Gotcha.
Okay, yeah. Okay, when you put it like that, yeah.
He has big college roommate vibes to me. Like I can picture Yuri like coming home like drunk with like a half crushed like Budweiser, and then Guineas is in his friggin' dorm studying, and then Yuri's like, "Hey, what you doing there?" And he's like, "I'm trying to improve on my work," and he's like,
right.
But the best part of their friendship is that he drinks off of Guineas's trust fund.
Absolutely.
Guineas is funding his habit.
Yuri's there off of like a football scholarship. He was like a C guy
Yep.
in high school, but if he's in there, he's doing his best. And Guineas is like, yeah, I got off of Harvard off of being a 4.0 GPA. I was the number one in
Like, I'm just a prophet.
yeah.
He
My daddy.
Yuri also mentioned coming over from Europe, so this is clearly a multi-continent, like full planetary scale conflict,
That's what you think, huh?
or at least multiple fronts.
Gotcha.
If we're moving on to this campfire scene, also, I love that they just still have a pocket rocket stove and tin cans.
Yeah.
I love
Of course.
it. Like, don't change it if it's not broken, man.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It does make you wonder, just considering how far into the future is. What do you think the supply chain situation is going on here with these guys and the food they got? Do you think Federation or Xeon soldiers? Who do you think's more well fed? Your average Federation GI or Xeon GI?
Federation.
Federation. Federation will give you rations. I feel like Xeon might give you corpstarch.
It is definitely a, like, right now, it feels like Federation is larger, like, has more stuff, has more people, has more land, etc.
And resources,
Xeon
yeah.
is smaller, but more elite, like, technologically ahead.
You think
They're trying to be, it
And
seems like.
Of course, they're zealous,
Gotcha.
which counts for a lot.
Something you notice on the head of the Osprey, which fascinating, is that it is what looks like the head of Azaku. There's a little
Azaku,
monocle
yeah.
they built into the Osprey, right on top there.
Well, yeah,
That's
that's
what
why I
makes,
call
that's what
them
makes me
shoulders.
think. Well, that's what makes me like support what Tom has to say about Xeon being like smaller but more technologically advanced, because it definitely seems like there is some kind of, at least from the Xeon's perspective, some kind of race going on to build whatever the big ball thing.
Asperus. Yeah.
It definitely seems like it's some kind of revolutionary, like, game changer in whatever's going on.
Gotcha. All right. Well, keeping it moving, we get more just testing with the unit. Speak now, forever hold your peace regarding anything here.
Broadcast Monopsy particles. So, a little bit later,
Gesundheit.
Elidor mentions, I can barely hear it because of the Monopsky particle jamming. What are these things, dude?
Yeah.
Is it a power source? Is it radio interference? Like, what is this?
What the fuck is up with that?
Sorry. This Yuri's assistant here, this blonde girl, in the dub, her line, it's a hilarious read. Like, they're just talking normally, and she comes up, a message for you, sir. Like, it's really strange in the dub.
She looks very like 70s anime just in her design, but she's just like a one-off lady they kind of drew there. Also, yeah, Monopsky.
Another scene of him, and then here there's another scene of Salahine taking those meds. Yeah.
Clearly a little sickly man. Very bright, but a feeble body.
Maybe it's a medical condition from prolonged exposure to Monopsky particles.
Yeah, it's
what are they?
And more at 11.
We're at 11. We get back into combat. I love the 8th team's shields have like... Oh, yes, I'm completely sidestepping that, Tom. I love that we have the 8th team's shields have little 8s on the side there.
I can imagine Tom is just seething in his chair with the amount of unanswered questions.
So everything will be answered in time, Tom. And if I can answer something, I'll let you know. But the more...
And see, I feel like he's just trying to ask a question that you don't have an answer to, just so he can just claim victory.
I will let you know there is a Word document that is like segmented and divided off with answers to every single thing, because Tom messaged me this weekend with questions. And I'm like, all right, let me hit the wiki. Let me watch a whole bunch of videos. I've been studying.
It's got to be a fair chase.
Oh yeah, there is an answer to everything here. But yeah, he's like, yeah, we can't hear it because of the Monopsky jamming, and then they're like, all right, we need to get in close to get a visual on these enemies. This is our 8th MS team fighting in the jungle later on. And Shiro's like, all teams lay low, get on your knees. Just a little nerd thing here, Mobile Suit Gundam Battle Operation 2. When you're playing that game, and specifically if you're sniping, when you look down the scope, you get vastly improved accuracy when you're on your knees, and when you go full prone, you basically have like no reticle sway.
Sway?
Super accurate, yeah, which is really cool. Little touch there. Any more thoughts on this as we keep going?
The support tank has a gun.
Yeah.
Why are you not using it?
Probably don't want to get shot at.
Tom, I gotta introduce you to 40K. There's so many tanks.
Yes, I'm familiar, but not super familiar with 40K. But we are gonna change Courage the Cowardly Dog's name at this moment to Trigger Happy Trevor.
That's true. He does just straight up
the entire mission.
Yeah, and even Elidor is like, bro, what the fuck are you doing? Yeah. And he's just like, and he's just straight up in the dub. I love it because he doesn't say like, oh, what it will do. He's just
And he's just like, just
like doesn't like doesn't say words. Yeah.
Court-martialing grounds in most if this wasn't an anime. I'd say almost getting everyone killed. And we get to see a ground-type Gundam using its thruster into the air for the first time, which is
how
really
much
cool.
do these things weigh?
It's a very good question, Tom. And we encounter.
Okay, but then here we see the
Karen fight the Osprey, and it
just gets absolutely bodied.
Yeah.
Right, just tackled like a fucking lineman.
Bug on a windshield.
And then Deathball uses Daisy Cutter, which doesn't make any sense to me because
they've clearly never seen anything like the Osprey before. Not just like they haven't seen this unit, they've seen nothing like this.
Nothing like it, right? Which is again bringing me back to the whole like this is a game changing. It's just like one of those game changing pieces of tech that they're putting a lot of their cards on.
Yeah, Xeon, they seem to have a lot of more room to experiment things in the Federation. Do you think they have a bigger military budget in general, or do you think the Fed...
Yeah, you can thank fascism for that.
I think it's more on the scientific side. Like, they're more of like, okay, we need something that's out of the fucking ballpark, but is going to kick their, like, asses. And leads me back to their non-fictional inspiration, kind of go into that was like more Wolfenstein of like the experimental side of that, which like Tom said, you can thank fascism for that.
So something really interesting happens here. You get to see the Osprey use this, what'd you call it, Tom? It was a Pokemon.
It's a Daisy Cutter.
Daisy Cutter, yeah. Have you seen Xeon use any sort of energy weapons?
The only
energy is thermal energy. Yeah, the thermal energy from the Heat Hawk.
Yeah.
Also, just a little nitpick is the shockwave is coming from in front of the support tank and it flips to the side. Just a thing.
But we have this really awesome character moment of Sanders being like, I am not letting anyone else die, because we learned he gets his nickname because every team he's a part of, people nearly die.
Well, it was the last two teams that he was on. They did not survive their third operation.
Yeah.
Or engagement or whatever, encounter. But I just love that he fully charged this tech, like
full on
experimental piece of tech, and it's just like, take this, love interest,
and just says, I am not the Grim Reaper. Which I friggin' love. He's reclaiming what he is, and it doesn't work. It hits something inside and bounces off of it. And the Osprey friggin' nearly books it after. Oh no, it doesn't.
So again, no discernible engines. It's just straight up hovering and just swivels towards him real quick.
Yeah.
And you're telling me it's not anti-gravity?
Yeah. It's fascinating.
It's right now. That's the only thing I can think of to propel an object that size.
Keep talking.
With no discernible engines.
I'm consulting better minds right now.
I'm assuming that Xeon has at least a more solid control or a better grasp of whatever Allspark is giving them
Gundam technology to the world.
Gotcha. Yeah, I would agree with that.
And I'm assuming that the conflict
Probably started around control or knowledge of this technology. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, and that's what. Yeah, because it definitely seems like the Federation, while it has more numbers and masses, it definitely seems like their technology is more like cookie cutter and like mass production, as opposed to the Xeon forces, who have a little bit more I don't want to say wacky, but a little more unorthodox design to their technology. And again, that experimental tech that is such a plot point.
Tom, can I give you something and trust you're not going to look for it until I say so?
Yep.
I'm going to give you a link. It is the wiki page for the Osprey. After we finish this series, we're going to go into something called Gundam, the Dawn of the Red Comet, or Gundam the Origin. I do not want you to look at this till I give you the answer of what the Minovsky particles are. Okay?
Oh,
It'll be at some point in the middle of that series, but that will begin to give you some answers, but there will be an episode. But yeah, they fight the Osprey, and everybody's like, hey, see, Sanders, you're not such a bad guy. And he's like, yeah, we're all still alive. And that's the end of our episode.
No, it's not the end of our episode because I wrote it down because Shiro is so earnest
Yes.
that he has to give us an anime message of your friends won't die as long as you believe really hard.
As the nice
God damn it.
90s anime sunlight.
Right, with the rays.
Yeah.
As long as you have
so
faith.
earnest.
It's
It's so
faith.
naive, and it's so heroic, and I love it.
Oh,
So
God,
I'm already,
it's so hopeful.
it's already 9 o'clock. I got to speed through things. We're going to have to cover these things a bit more concisely in the future, but it's fine. Are we ready for a few answer times? For a time for a few
Yes.
answers? All right.
I feel like Tom is especially ready to have some of it.
I've been asking these all over the place, but let me just go through a list of questions from today's episodes. This is Gundam the 8th MS Team, episode 1 through 4. Entering our second half of the show where I answer questions, I'm going to call this Tales from the Universal Century. Put an echo on that, Miles. So, before we get into that, we have some more questions here. What year is this? They do say it, but...
UC 00079.
79, which is named after the original Gundam series. If my implying hasn't been clear enough, it is evident. Oh, we're getting some noise from someone's mic. It's all good. If my implications haven't been clear enough, it is evident that this is taking place during the first Gundam series from 1979. Moreover, any thoughts about that year?
That would be the year that our big ol' UN super government took control of Earth
Or colonized another planet. We formed a new interplanetary government body and started tracking time differently.
or it's when we found the Allspark.
Gotcha.
Is year zero.
Also, you think that there is an Allspark here?
Or a monolith, man.
You think there's some sort of alien technology that
Yes.
is guiding this world? All right. Anyone else have any theories?
I'll go I'll go man-made creation, but it definitely seems like some kind of power source, and whatever this power source is, while well known, it definitely seems like the Xeon, like Tom was saying, has a better grasp of it.
Gotcha. Fascinating. How long do you think this war's been going on?
Too long.
Minimum 5 years.
Fascinating. You think this has been a minute, huh? This
If we have multiple,
1945,
yes.
40s.
If we're transporting troops through space, and it seems like they're a relief force, yeah, this has been going on for a bit. We have multiple fronts across at least 2 different continents. This has been going on for a bit.
Gotcha. I know Kenny kind of knows the answer to that one because we talked about it, so we'll skip over that one. We know Xeon's from Side 3. Do you have any thoughts about Side 3 or Side 2 or any of these names you heard yet?
No, because I don't have enough data. Because you won't get it.
Yeah, I've given my opinions earlier in this episode.
What ethnicity do you think Xeon / the Federation is? Do you think they're both completely monoracial entities of just mixed groups, or do you think there's we mentioned that they kind of Xeon has a Prussian influence while the Federation has more of a Western influence, but their Federation is in Djibouti, which is in South Africa, huh?
South America.
Yeah,
South
sorry,
America.
South America. I misspoke.
I mean, I assume that's just where they landed because that's what conflict they're going to.
Right, yeah.
There doesn't seem to be. I mean,
If you're
race is hard to tell in anime.
Gotcha. Sanders
Yeah.
is very
Like-
clearly a darker skinned gentleman, while everyone else here is either. Shiro Amada is, well, we can talk about this. Shiro Amada is a Japanese name. Shiro means white. If you're a Nier fan, Grimoire white. Shiro Grimoire is Grimoire white. But we also got Aina Salahin from Zeon, Guineas Salahin from Zeon.
Guineas, and see, it's the spelling of Guineas that's getting me. Because, motherfucker, this is a 40k name. Ginias. You're telling me that spells Guineas? Eat a dick.
Dude, go look up some Irish names.
But we also got Norris Packard from Zeon. And we got...
Yeah, and then Yuri Kakalna Chernobylgakov.
and Terry Sanders and Elidor Massis and Karen Joshua, which are very Western names. The ethnicities seem to be all over the place.
We're going to go with a largely post-racial or either a NATO v. Warsaw Pact division.
Gotcha. Where do you think the Earth Federation is from?
Earth.
You think they're from Earth? Do you think everyone in the Earth Federation is from Earth?
No. You know what? Fuck you. I think it's from the moon.
Where do you think, oh, we already asked the Zeon one. You know, they're from wherever side 3 is. Where on Earth does this take place? We said Jaburo. Who do you think is invading who? Do you think this is an invasion at all, or is this one-sided, two-sided?
Zeon is invading the Earth.
I think it's a territorial war.
I
would say it's
held by
the
the Federation forces.
Do you feel like this is mutual? Like these are two armies of equal sizes, despite their technological differences?
No.
Who do you think's bigger? Who's the big boy?
Earth Federation forces are definitely
Zeon.
larger.
Gotcha.
I see Zeon, in my opinion.
Do you think everyone in the Earth Federation is from Earth, and everyone fighting for Zeon is from Zeon?
No.
Nope.
No.
What are your thoughts on that?
Multi-planetary society.
You think multi-planetary, huh?
Yes.
That's a colonies.
We've mentioned space colonies, so we are definitely a multi-planetary society. And I'm going to say again, I think it's an Athens and Sparta situation. I think Zeon has the edge on the ground, and I think the Earth has the edge. Earth Federation forces have the edge in space.
Fascinating. How?
That?
Well, go on. Sorry.
No, I was agreeing with that.
How many? Let's just say Gundams, not mobile suits. How many Gundams do you think there are, at least at this point in time, in 0079?
Way too fucking many to count.
On both sides?
No, just not say mobile suits. How many Gundams, just what our 8th MS team is piloting, how many Gundams do you think there are in existence? The ones with the
less than 100.
Less than
Yeah,
100?
I would say less than 150.
Yeah.
Well, next thing. Who do you think got mobile suits first?
Zeon.
Or that the creation of mobile suits led to the schism that created Zeon.
Elaborate on that a little bit for me.
Well, I'm already like that. As soon as we have this technology, then okay, now we have the ethics problem. I'm assuming somewhere in there. What should we do with it, or what can we do with it? And the answer is we can build giant fuck off mechs and fight each other.
Do you think the mobile suits were that technology that caused whatever this division is? Do you think it was mobile suits?
I think the initial technology, which I am assuming is related to this Minovsky particle you won't tell me about, I am assuming it would be some kind of more like power generation or an economic technology that then was repurposed for warfare. The schism started to develop.
Gotcha.
I mean, that's what typically happens, right? It's like they discover a piece of tech, and then it's like, oh, how can we weaponize it?
Yeah, or it's the fact that it was weaponized by one side or the other that initiated this whole conflict. But
All right. Well, so we can be fast. I'm skipping over things in my notes. Forgive me if y'all had more to go on tonight. I'm going to try to keep these podcasts under 2 hours in the future. Let me change windows. And again, thanks for working with me. to this one. Can everyone see my screen? Was it?
Yes.
Journal of Geek Studies.
Okay, cool. So let's talk about some terms. Let's talk about the term super robot versus real robot. So, anime before Gundam was mainly in the 70s something called Super Robot. The one that I love talking about, besides my glorious Geki Ginger from Martian's successor Nadesco, but that's not real, is Gather Robo. Gather Robo is what's called a Super Robot series because it was basically the earliest iterations of this whole mech genre, where these characters piloted these robots that pretty much had superpowers. Their forms and shapes kind of shifted. It was the 70s looking animations. They fought supernatural monsters or mixed of alien lizard men and stuff. And you get your you get your...
Oh, drill hands. Let's go.
Drill hands. And the science does not matter. It is superpowers. Yeah. It is a bunch of fun stuff. The other one I love is Dytron 3.
Who are the 3 best rappers you've ever heard? Dytron, 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 and Dytron. Because I spit hot fire.
I think it was actually Ditron 5, whoever. You get Mazinger is the other one, which is a super robot. I think I messed up on Ditron. That's not actually it. But it's robots with superpowers, and the science does not make sense. Our Mobile Suit Gundam is the first of a shift that happened, which created something called the Real Robot. The Real Robot are mech shows that are, like Tom likes, are founded around the realism and the inner workings of these things.
I'm going to say scientifically somewhat possible.
Yeah, scientifically somewhat possible. There's where you have your Minovsky particles, there where you have your concerns about engineering. Not that either one of these is less or worse than the other one, but those are your things. And of course, the love of my life, Gunbuster, with Noriko and Amano piloting here at the 240 meters. Do you all know where your Gundam is on this graph? Do you see it?
Fuck. I'm gonna hold on.
Small. Third to last 24 meters.
Right here at the end.
No, we're
18 meters. Yeah.
Smallest one. In terms of the size of these things. Well, Yoshiyuki Gundam's created by our Lord and Savior Yoshiyuki Tomino, who has a fascinating mind, and we'll get into him later. This Gundam series, the 8th MS team, was not directed by him. This was when he was taking a bit of a sabbatical from Sunrise, who makes Gundam, and the 8th MS team was directed by a man who we'll get to later, named Takayuki Kanada. Ignore that other name there, we'll get to it later. But Takayuki Tanada is this guy, real talented guy, and he makes the 8th MS team. Noticeably, this is a Gundam series that is not made by the original creator of Gundam. I'm talking over myself. But just to go back, Gundam is a real robot. That is what Padlabor is. I don't want to talk about Code Geass because I have some disagreements there. And we have Dunbine. And then super robots like the Brave series and Cross Ange and everything here on this little graph. Audience at home, you can't see what I'm referring to. But if you know those series, super powered robot versus weapon of war. All right? So.
Real robots are more scientific, whereas super robots throw science to the wind and say, whoa.
Yeah, and I love me some Dan Kuga. I love me for Gurren Lagann pretty much like saved my life when I was a teenager. But yeah, so in Gundam, we have two sides going against each other. We have the Earth Federation and we have the Principality of Zeon. This is the Earth Federation flag right here. We actually got two different ones. You know this. What does this...
Oh, look at that NATO star and that UN
like Brazil.
Yeah, we get the NATO star on this one, but we also get a very Brazil-looking flag on the, with the green, blue, and yellow flag with this Earth Federation one. But they have several different flags. Zeon, their flag looks like this, which is very...
Troy.
Wow, salty.
Man.
Audience at home,
the
if you want to
face.
stay along with us, Google Xeon flag and click on the first one that looks fascist. There will be several of them.
So lots of reds and blacks and whites, and they really they looked at Germany and said,
you replaced the swastika with a lower back tattoo.
It looks like a tramp stamp.
fucking no, that's a gender symbol. That's got to be some kind of gender nowadays.
That does kind of look like a masculine or feminine symbol there. No, as far as I'm no intention there, but Xeon soldiers do in their designs look very, at least if not World War I German, very Nazi and fascist adjacent. So Gundams and Zaku's Earth Federation mechs and Xeon mechs are made by two different companies. I'm not going to have images on my screen here. Xeon mechs are made by a company called the Xeonic Company. And Earth Federation mechs are made by a group called Anaheim.
A-N-A-H.
Yeah, I can't spell
Anaheim.
Yeah, Anaheim Electronics are the guys who make the Earth Federation mechs. They are your Lockheed Martin, and I can't remember the Chinese one, but they are your weapon manufacturers. So if you weren't able to tell, let me get my notes here. Please feel free to interrupt me at any time here as we're talking. How do you tell the difference between Xeon and Earth Federation mechs? Big thing. Gundams have two eyes and a V on their head.
Right, the eyebrows.
Yep, they have a big V. It's sometimes golden. On the first Gundam, it's not golden. But Gundams have two eyes and a V. In most Earth's Federation mechs, we either have a sound wave from Transformers style visor, or they'll have two eyes. Xeons all have the mono eye.
The one eye.
That is their big design identifier there, as I'm showing you a bunch of spoilers for big things that you'll see in the future. But Xeons have...
Look at all those different...
Xeon mechs.
They also really like drum magazines.
We'll get to that in a second. So, let's bring up what you have seen in this episode, and we will actually not start in these episodes, and we will actually not start with our Gundam. We're going to talk about GMs. GMs are these machines. You may ask what GM stands for. GM stands for GM. General machine is what you can assume, but they've always just been referred to as GM. As far as I'm aware, there is actually no indication for what that number actually means. In the 8th MS, so here's the thing with Gundam, there's always a model number and sub number and a bunch of different numbers for what things are. The first GM we see in the show is actually an experimental GM called... My screen is freezing right now. The first one we see...
Get it up, blanket.
Yeah, and the first one is called the RGM-79E GM Early Type. It is what we see piloted by Sanders and presumably the rest
Early
of his...
type.
Yeah,
okay.
The rest of his team that got destroyed in that first episode. The GM Early Type, ignore words on this page that I'm not talking about, is armament, has a 60mm Vulcan gun, really high rate of fire but little power, can't really damage the armor of a mobile suit, but can do things to lightly damage.
That's so interesting.
Yeah. So Tom, when I say the details are there, the details are there. The beam saber, which they all equipped with, has rechargeable energy capacitor. It emits a beam of plasma. And they are also equipped with a bullpip machine gun and a Fedegel RGM shield, which is is a shield. We will see more of these GMs, but we have things here. If you're taking notes, feel free to take notes. Please don't look at anything else on this page that I'm not talking about. And for viewers at home, we're going to the Gundam Wiki. I should have said this at the beginning, and looking up things about the GM from Gundam. If you want to follow along, you can listen to my voice, or if you don't want to listen to it, you can pause and listen there. The other GM that we see after the first episode, and we'll see for the bulk of the 8th MS team, is the RGM is the RGM 79 GGM ground type, which is based off of something here that you have not seen yet, so we'll not talk about that. This is what is given to the 8th MS team. We're gonna skip over all of this stuff here. The armaments of the RGM is a better beam saber, which is called an XBSA GO3 beam saber. Same logic, don't worry about the science of this. They have a 100mm machine gun, which is very good. They have a 90mm bullpip machine gun, a 180mm cannon, a Blash XBR beam rifle, a missile launcher, I'm not going to go into all these names, a rocket launcher, a rail cannon, a 175mm recoilless rifle, and a twin beam saber. A few of those things, correction, the recoilless rifle was picked up by someone else, but we'll talk on this later. They also have several different types of shields, but high caliber machinery. This is a much better machine than that GM early type was. You can especially see that with the 100mm machine gun versus the 60mm Vulcan cannons. Tom, you brought this up earlier, I think in our private talks. All Earth Federation machines have Vulcans built into their heads.
Okay, I'll accept that.
Yep. So if your weapon is ever dropped, there is your integrated machinery. So,
right.
For the star of the show and why this thing is called Gundam, you didn't see anything right there. The mech of the show, the RGM 79 Gundam ground type. So, before we get into it, again, we're going to say that the difference for right now, a Gundam is a machine that is made by the Earth Federation and Anaheim Electronics. It has 2 eyes and the V on its head, right?
Right.
The 8th MS team is one of many mobile suit game teams that were deployed by the Earth Federation here in the middle of this war to fight Zeon and combat against them. There, somewhere off in the conflict, is some machine called the RX-78-2 that is piloted by some loser. I don't know. I forget his name. I think he was from like Mexico or Canada. Maybe it was Japan. Who knows? But that guy has a machine that is called the Gundam that is part of something called Project V, which I always assumed was for victory. That's why the Gundams have the V on their forehead. That machine is off elsewhere in this world, but they had some spare parts from that machine and they used them to mass produce Gundams, kind of, into these, not an RX-78-2, but an RX-79G ground type Gundam. You may ask, what is the difference between a Gundam and a GM? A Gundam is much better built. You see Sanders say, yes, this thing handles nothing like a GM at all. It's what a Gundam's like. Gundams also are typically made out of something that is called Luna Titanium, that after this big war would be known as Gundarium. Gundams are made out of Gundarium.
Of course it is.
But at this time, that is the big thing. Zaku's are not made out of that, and most GMs aren't, although some are. It's a whole big conversation. But a Gundam is if a mobile suit is just the word car, and think of Gundam as a Maserati, Zaku as like a BMW, and GM as like another car that like somebody makes. So keeping on going, big things. So Vulcan cannon built into the head and left chest of the Gundam. Different machine from the GM. We have a multi-launcher underneath the chest that is capable of firing nets, flares, grenades, and other projectiles. We have the better end of the beam sabers, an XBSA GO3 beam saber, which you can't see it, but if you look at, we'll show you this on another Gundam here. Where are most of the Gundam's beam sabers at?
On its back.
On its back. It's got 2 that can deploy from its back. The 8th MS teams and the other ones used by the Earth Federation at this time,
it was on their hip.
Yeah, it's on their hip. It's actually deployed from like their thigh or lower leg.
Yeah, I saw that.
It's not pulling it off its back like a samurai or from its side. Well, it is pulling. It actually is a bit closer.
It's a bit more samurai.
back sheaths
Yeah.
are bullshit.
Yeah, it's not
Back sheets are absolute bullshit, and they're so fucking stupid.
it's not pulling it off its back like a pirate with this
Like Link from Legend of Zelda.
Or your Dark Souls character, and it has two of them for most of the 8th MS team, and typically for Earth Federation regulations you only operate one beam saber in one hand at a time unless you're a little better of a pilot, but we'll get into that. But they also have the YHI at YFM MG 100 100 millimeter machine gun. They have the YHI FHX 180 millimeter cannon. And the big thing is that they have a Blash XBR M79E beam rifle. We'll get into that in a second. They have a missile launcher, they have a rocket launcher, they have a rail cannon. They have the Gundam Hammer, which is kind of a Morning Star. We'll see a bit more of that. They have the net gun, and they have several different types of shields. Any questions before we move on about the RX-78-2s or anything? They are not as good as whatever this RX-78-2 thing is, but the RX-79s, sorry. Any questions about the RX-79G ground type Gundam? They are a lesser they are worse than whatever this RX-78-2 Gundam is. They are made from leftover pieces of it, and they've been given to these mobile suit teams.
Miles, my brain is melting.
Your brain is melting. I know. Any questions right now?
I got nothing.
Got nothing? All right, cool. We're going to go to the other side of the war before we give up here for the day. The other thing I wanted to bring up is that anything that is not a mobile suit is considered a mobile armor. So your hover tank, yeah, here's your tank. Oh nope, wrong series entirely. The Bloodhound, yep, your Bloodhound, your M35384 Bloodhound.
I like this vehicle.
You like this?
This makes sense.
This makes sense.
This is a good design.
It's got little pads. It looks almost like a little leapfrog there. It's got a little gun on.
It's got a nice little scoop in the front for foliage, and like a full rotary cannon on the top.
Like, forgive me, audience at home. This is our first. This is our first time going
pilot.
Here, so if I'm talking a little bit, it has a 4x hover engine, which is really cool. Let's actually see if we have anything from it. I actually don't know the mechanics of how it hovers, but really cool. And this is what your Earth Federation non-Gundam carriers look like for the majority of the 1-year war. Tom, I can now answer your question. How much does the Gundam weigh? It is 18 meters in size, and it weighs 73 tons.
And it doesn't sink into river mud?
Does not, apparently.
Okay.
Empty weight is 52.8 metric tons.
Okay.
Cool.
We're not gonna touch the rocket jumps then, because I'm sure someone did the math. But rocket jumps.
They are on the lighter end of how those things. But yeah, without a person inside, 52.8 metric tons. With full armament, 73 metric tons. They also can have a backpack put on the back of them. And
as we saw in episode 2.
Yep. That can have supplies. It can have armaments. Yeah. The Gundam also lacks something called the core block system, which we won't be getting into, this Gundam specifically, which allows it to be lighter and have better performance than the RX-78 while under gravity. So it is light enough to be in the mud there, Tom. Moving on. Because I know it is 9:30 right now. Let's go to the other side of the war. Let's talk about, and I'm going to show you something you have not seen yet today, but it's fine. Let's talk about the MOS-6 Zaku. So,
that's my boy.
The Zaku, this is the boy. The MS-06 Zaku 2 is the standard mass-produced mobile suit of the Earth Federation, of the Principality of Zeon. So Gundam has variants of every single one of these, and those letters do mean things. So, that we're not getting too off the cuff with it. The ones that we are seeing here in the majority of the 8th MS team are MS-06F Zaku 2s. Can you maybe hinder a guess of what the difference between the MS-06F and MS-06Z typical Zakus are? You notice I called them ground type Zakus. This is a poor picture description. The Zakus in the 8th MS team that they are fighting on Earth do not have thrusters on their backs. They cannot leap into the air like the Gundams do. However, the Zakus that we saw in the first episode there are Zaku MOS6Cs, I believe, which
they have space equipment.
Yep, they have space equipment. So here's they are from the first series. They can be in space. The F-type Zakus cannot. The Zakus notably are a lot more modular, if you noticed, and a lot more standardized. Zaku's weigh 58.1 metric tons, max weight 73.3 metric tons, and they're 17.5 meters, so just a little bit shorter than the Gundam, or at least the ones we've seen here, and a little bit heavier.
Bit heavier, yeah.
So they have shoulder shields. They have 122 millimeter machine guns. They have 90 millimeter machine guns. They have the Zaku bazooka, which fires an explosive round that actually can either just be like pretty much one big explosive slug or shrapnel. Don't pay attention to this one just yet. They have the Heat Hawk, which is a superheated blade. It uses thermal energy that is powered from the Zaku itself. And few other things. We didn't actually see one because my memory betrayed me. So I'm going to give you a little bit of a spoiler so I can explain something here. The other thing we saw... here is the Zaku 1, which you actually will see in the 8th MS team. Specifically, you'll see the Zaku 1 commander type. The Zaku 1 is another variant of the Zaku. I lost my page there. Similar armaments, almost exactly to a Zaku, but a little bit worse performance. Okay? And then they are much lighter at less light at 50.3 metric tons and about the same height as a Zaku. The ones you see in the 8th MS team are Zaku 1 commander types, which look a bit like this. They just have the beam on the top of the forehead. I think you've actually seen one. So, short little video here. Can you all see my screen?
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
We're going to use a video by Sloth Cakes on YouTube, the Gundam Pro... Yes, the Zaku here. So, video almost repeated there. Tom, I think we may be close to answering one of your questions.
Which one?
Well, to answer several of them, let me give you one last little lore drop for the day before we answer big questions here. The Zaku 1 is the first combat, the MS-05B Zaku 1 is the first combat tested mobile suit in the universe, in the Universal Century, to ever be made. The
Cool.
Zaku,
So Zeon had him first.
the Zaku 2 is the first mass-produced mobile suit, period. What is the other thing you noticed as I was going through all those weapon armaments? Did you pick up anything?
That all of them are the size of tank rounds?
Well,
Yeah.
if you didn't notice it, the Zeons do not have beam weaponry. Only Earth Federations, as far as we've seen, have beam weaponry on their suits. The
because they're the good guys.
The Earth Federation has beam weapons. The Gundam, sorry, the GMs, even the early prototype GM in Episode 1 that Sanders was piloting had a beam sword. And the Gundams have beam rifles and a little bit of beam cannons. The Zaku's, the Earth Federation mechs also have typical ammunition weaponry. The Zaku's only have ammunition weaponry, and if you notice, you only saw millimeter rounds and stuff. Ignore that beam bazooka for the moment being. But that's not right. Would you say that Zeon does not have beam weaponry at all?
They have a giant floating death ball. I have no idea what they have.
They have a giant, they have a giant floating death ball that does use beam weaponry, but for some reason the Zaku's do not have rounds.
I mean, if you're talking about beam in the form of plasma, no. But however, they do have beam in the form of thermal energy, so I guess it depends on what kind of energy is producing said.
Yeah, so by beam weaponry, whatever this beam is, your Star Wars Kyber Saber equivalent, the Earth Federation can shoot energy at you, but Zeon has to shoot typical
projectile solid rounds.
Yep. Now, if y'all are familiar with Halo, you know, what is typically, just in science in general, what is typically stronger? A laser that can be shot and absorbed to some extent, or a little piece of matter going really, really fast?
Little piece of matter going really, really fast.
Yep. So, but we've seen Earth Federations blast through Zaku's with their beam weapons and destroy, just cleave through them with their beam weapons. So their beam weapons have to be pretty damn good, right?
Either that or Zeon's defenses aren't capable of defending against their type of weaponry.
That's a good theory. So we're going to have something here that I'm going to call the long-term puzzle. This is going to be our first one. This is probably going to go through the first Gundam series, the literal one. Not this, the first one we're covering, the 8th MS team. This question is for Tom. Why bipedal mechs? Why bipedal mechs that you can do it? The rule of cool is always
because
there.
They're cool.
The rule of cool
That's
is
literally the only thing that can justify them.
The rule of cool is always there, but there is a technical reason made by that madman Tomin.
No.
So, no. Most mobile suits in the Gundam universe are 25 to 30 foot tall robots with handheld, non-attachable weaponry. Zaku's and other Zeon mechs, smaller mechs, only use physical round armaments and in like thermal stuff, so guns and heat hawks. Meanwhile, the Earth Federation has both physical armaments and beam weapons, beam rifles and beam swords. But it's not like Zeon doesn't have beam weapons. They have large machines like the Osprey and battleships, which you haven't seen, which do have beam weapons on them. So why don't Zaku's have beam weaponry? Any guesses?
Dude, I don't have enough data to make guesses.
It's been 4 episodes, my guy.
Yeah. Well, it's all right. Well, this is going to be our long-term question that I'm now going to check off. But this is going to lead into our question of why bipedal mechs, and maybe it'll tie into this little mysterious particle Tom's so fascinated about for some reason. Who knows? 2 quick things, and then we're out of here. Tom, you were asking about firing weapons in space. Why are they not just floating around in a gyroscopic net over and over and over again? How does that work, right?
No, I'm asking you how did they solve the problem?
Let us introduce you to the AMBAC system, the Active Mass Balance Auto Control System. The AMBAC system is a fundamental technology that
that allows for thrusterless maneuvering in the zero-G environment of space by mobile suits by means of precise movement control of their limbs. It's space. You don't have a medium to swim through.
So, let us continue.
No.
The AMBAC works by leveraging Isaac Newton's third law of motion, where there's an action, there's an equal action and opposite reaction with regards to inertia to the effect and changes in direction. We are reading directly from the Gundam Wiki right now. For example, if a person was placed in a microgravity environment where friction is negligible, i.e. space, and asked to place his left arm on his chest and to swing it to the side, the resulting inertia of the arm movement would result in the rest of his body turning the other direction in order to conserve angular momentum. Then, when the motion of the arm stopped, the rotation of the body would also stop. The AMBAC system coordinates the movements and micro-movements precisely, allowing a continuous balance and stability without expending reaction mass.
I
For
refuse.
the most part, the AMBAC is invisible to the naked eye as the shifts are slight. The system can be used to dodge incoming projectiles or small objects, as the arms and legs of a mobile suit account for significant portions of the total mass. The AMBAC system also allows the center of mass to shift outside of the body. AMBAC is by its nature limited to reorienting the unit around its center of mass and is not suitable for propulsion. It is often used in conjunction with the propulsion system to quickly turn the unit and shorten aiming speeds, as well as directing the main thrusters. The system,
Can it punch you in the shoulders as hard as a 9mm?
The system is similar in principle to the momentum wheel system used in present-day satellites. The system is similar to the momentum system used in present-day satellites, though obviously more complex. Mobile suits performing AMBAC motions would presumably move to present-day astronauts performing extravehicular activities, both typically having roughly similar body structures. Their use of mass to control the rotation would presumably be similar, even if calculated by different means. What this means, as you can see in this picture, is when your Zakus and Gundams are firing at each other, they are not moving rapidly through space because the inner workings of their mobile suits are accounting for it. You fire your gun in space, it doesn't move you back because the AMBAC system, without the pilot having to consciously think about it, is counteracting the inertia and amount of force you'd need to not knock you off course.
Okay,
So,
that's firing a gun from a mobile suit. He was in an EVA suit. He was in a hard suit firing a sidearm.
okay, well, yeah, I don't have an answer for that. There's probably something somewhere. But that is your answer for anything.
I will buy that for a mobile suit. I thought you were trying to tell me that was in the skin tight bodysuit he was wearing.
Oh, no. That's
Zero chance.
Shiro was wearing.
If that's in a gun in a mobile suit that's got tiny little thrusters and everything all over it, 100% I'll buy that. On a hard suit, 0% chance.
A normal suit. Yeah.
You can call it a normal suit. I'm calling it a hard suit. I'm coming here from Lancer.
It's fine. But yeah, so I'm sorry. In our conversation before the podcast, I thought you were asking about that. The last thing is Tom's best friend, and I'm actually going to give him a copy of this right now. I'm going to put this in general. We got to talk about a design that you were very upset about, Tom.
I hate it.
We got to talk about the Zeon fighter, the Dopp. Which, that has a very 1970s style design. It's very early Gundam because it was made for it. I'm going to have you scroll down to technology, combat, and characteristics, and I'd like you to read that, my friend. Read it out loud for the team.
The Dopp was an atmospheric fighter by Zeon for invasions on Earth. It was said that Zeon engineers, due to living on space colonies, did not have the knowledge to develop atmospheric aircraft or a place to test them. That tracks. Their design is stupid. So the Dopp was designed using computer simulations. Bad computer. As a result, the first 4 prototypes crashed when tested. That tracks. Because it had very poor aerodynamics. That tracks. The Dopp forcibly achieved flight via a large thrust engine and a large number of attitude control veneers. Well, it's got folding wings. Might as well give it more attitude control veneers. It had high mobility, doubt it, and a maximum speed of Mach 5. Wow, booking it, buddy. But poor range.
Stop. Don't read ahead. Cool. So, you were blowing up my phone all weekend about it, and when I Googled
so mad.
I did not know the name of the mobile suit. Of the vehicle, the mobile armor here. I was actually trying to find you a kit just to give to you. But they're all from the late 90s, and it's not a normal $15 kit. It's expensive. It's like $47 for just one Dopp. So
I mean,
unfortunately, this podcast will not be getting the Dopp that you viewers at home can't see. But I also just love this Reddit page here that I found. Is the Dopp the worst fighter craft in all of Gundam?
yes.
And
Yes, it is.
Question number 1, Revenger. This is from Reddit. Is the Dopp the worst fighter craft of all time by ad specialist 6598? Comment number 1, Revenger 1984. Yes, whoever designed this does not understand aerodynamics.
Correct.
Ad specialist 1659. That is actually the story. The reason, 2, because Zeon is space-based, they don't understand aerodynamics.
That doesn't make any sense.
So
A 10-year-old with a wind tunnel and a bag of sand could tell you that this is a bad design.
let's step back for a second.
Why would you test fly it, crash multiple of them, and then keep that design?
So let's
Why
step
is your
back.
cockpit out of line with your fuselage?
Let's step back for a sec. Let's not think about how stupid it is.
It's stupid.
Let's let that inform us. What does this tell you about Zeon?
Fascism
problem?
doesn't work.
Think a little bit more about that. Think, how could you make something like this? What kind of place must be where Zeon inside 3 is from that they just could not?
Hardcore nepo babies in engineering positions.
Okay, but think a little further. Why would you not have any sort of understanding?
Because
of
you
Earth
live in a
aerodynamics?
vacuum environment.
So you think?
But you
it's a
told me
vacuum?
Water's not precious, so I'm assuming that
We would at least have plentiful ice mining on comets or something. I don't know, man.
Wherever they're from must be very different from Earth, huh?
It definitely doesn't have an atmosphere, because otherwise they would understand basic aerodynamics.
Well, the other thing is that just leaving Earth's gravity, your aerodynamics are going to be similar but like different. Clearly, something like this could possibly work out in space, but Zeons, at least the people of Zeon as we know it, could not develop a good fighter jet because they just simply did not know Earth well enough before invading it. There's also your confirmation that this is an invasion by Zeon. The other thing is, if you think about what Shiro said when he was when he was struggling to fight on Earth in that second episode 2, side 2 also seems to have a weird gravity situation, huh? Any questions?
Well, he was just like, I'm not in 0 G's anymore, which just seemed like he gave off more of, like, had more experience in space.
Do you think they're like completely zero gravity wherever side 2 and side 3 are?
No.
Because they have like functioning muscles and limbs and they're not all atrophied, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, these questions and many more we are going to have to leave for next time. Audience at home, I want to thank you so much for watching. Boys, do you have any plugs in the moment?
No, dude.
No.
No?
None.
All right.
No.
Well, hey, we're going to get off for right now. You guys stay after just for 1 sec. We just got planned for next watch through. It'll just take a minute. Thank you for watching the Federation's Finest podcast. We will continue next time with episodes. All right. Thank y'all. Have a good day. Bye.